So, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good night, whenever you're listening to this. This is Matthew Bailey alongside my critic and partner in crime, Carl Medina.
Hello, everyone. Hello, everyone.
And this is another episode of DS Beats and Bailey. And yes, folks, I know it's been a long while since you've heard our voices. We took like pretty much a 2-week hiatus. We had a lot of stuff going on. Well, I don't know about you, Ricardo, but I had a lot of things to do. It's a shame though, because a lot of things happened during those 2 weeks.
Right.
Two things in particular we're gonna start off this episode with. San Diego Comic-Con, which wrapped up not too long ago. Some of the highlights you just wanna kind of breeze through quickly, including some really dope trailers that came out during that event.
Good.
Yeah, that I don't know. I'm sorry. We just have to touch on it. You know, at some point we just might as well touch on it. Also too, I know that a week has passed since the unfortunate news, but yes, the unfortunate death of Chester Bennington of the famous rock group Linkin Park.
Right.
Yeah, so we didn't get around to really talking about his his death and pretty much what it meant to us down here. So we'll touch on that as well. Apart from that, we have a couple of movies that we're going to talk about. The first being a film that both of us we're looking forward to. The one thing about it that struck me the most is that it's from WWE Studios, and
right.
This film in particular, which is called Sleight, looks nothing like the stuff that has been coming out of WWE Studios in probably like the last few years or whatnot. This is something totally different. It's pretty indie, I'll say that much now. So I was really surprised as to how or why WWE Studios would bring out something so, I don't want to say mainstream, but that's different from the roster of stuff that they tend to put out. That kind of action thriller stuff where they squeeze in a wrestler too, or some comedy or some drama or a horror film or thereabout. Yeah, so I saw Sleight and Ricardo didn't get around to seeing it, so I'll review that. But we did see Christopher Nolan's latest masterwork called Dunkirk, which for us was one of the most highly anticipated films of 2017. So we're going to share our thoughts on that. I know we're going to be divided by this. I already sense it. I already could feel it in the air. But, I just want to have a good debate on whether this film is as great as everybody says it is, or is, pretty much an experiment just going wrong. That's all I'll say for now.
Okay.
All right. So, Comic-Con stuff. You wanna jump in? Start things off with Comic-Con? This really is just stuff that stood out to us. So not just trailers,
the cycle of Comic-Con stuff kind of slipped from my brain anymore. But let us see if I can remember what stuff. Justice League trailer.
Yes. Which I would start off with this, which I would admit looks fairly decent. I am actually impressed by what I'm seeing.
Yeah, here's the thing.
I know we all felt we all were duped with this whole with Batman v Superman. It was all like, yeah, look at that great trailer, and then we saw the final product. I was like, ugh. So
I'm still in the camp of I'll still admit. Look, the reason that, as I say, hate is not the opposite of love. So
that's a good quote. That's a good quote there.
I'll admit, I'm still in the camp of I want to believe, and this
X-Files, anyone?
This actually looks half decent. It still is a problem. I still have issues with it. Still a little meh on the side, but have things I like. They got the jokey jokes.
Yes.
Flash is pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
Aquaman looking good.
Yeah.
And as usual, Jeremy Irons as Saucy Alfredo.
Oh yes.
Still enjoyed it. I still enjoyed all his
I'm going to enjoy his. I know I'm going to enjoy his performance.
Right.
In this movie.
Because that line with Cyborg was just hilarious to me. I just love that. that just worked perfectly.
Mm-hmm.
And Jeremy Irons is still the big highlight for this. He's still solid Alfred. I like what they're doing with this Alfred. They kind of mesh him and Lucius Fox a little bit.
Good point actually. Yeah.
Yeah, as kind of one. You kind of notice that from Batman v Superman, but yeah, he's the tech guy anyway. It don't really matter. And Alfred always kind of served that purpose in many incarnations of the Batman anyway. So, and then when they had the big kind of little side news of whether or not Ben Affleck is going to continue, he says yes. We're not sure what's going on with that, but yeah, I think pretty much is yes. I think that was just more hype BS more than anything, just to get the fans worried for 2 seconds. At no point I really genuinely thought that would have been the case. But you never know with the WB going on right now with that movie studio. So as a trailer itself, it looks solid. Now here's the thing: there's a big leak that came out from the usual reliable source, and it looks just as well. From what I understand, it's going to be as convoluted and nonsensical as Batman v Superman.
Yeah, because they still have to play catch up, right? Even though
Right,
they have
so,
their,
from what I understand,
the official super team movie here.
It's kind of the same bullshit. Well, I won't say Batman v Superman, more comparable to Man of Steel, where that was just a sort of extra bullshit that don't need to be there.
Oh,
And
okay.
you're gonna put it in as like, yeah, why this here, whatever. But I expect the one thing I expect the story to be solid. They have a little tease. Well, there's an implication. There's a teaser Superman, and well, some people imply it could be Supergirl.
No, I honestly do think it's Superman. Just
Right, me
off
too.
the setup with the rumbling,
Right.
the glass of water, that kind of thing. Yeah.
Right, me too. And well, the thing is that Alfred kind of Alfred is familiar with who it is, so it had to be Superman. Like who else?
Yeah.
Who else Alfred's familiar with? It's
Yeah.
just him and Batman, right? So
Right.
that's you not think it's Superman. I doubt it's Supergirl or anything like that.
Right.
I don't think.
One thing about the trailer itself, sorry to cut you there. At times it does feel a little too CG heavy, like over reliant
No,
on CG. I find like
that was
case in
the
point
same
that
problem with
shot
the last one.
with Aquaman and him fighting. I forgot the name of the character in the building, and then this huge explosion thing is like, oh wow, you know what I mean?
No, as I say, this gonna be comparable to. In my head, I have it comparable to X-Men Apocalypse.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
That's why I expect it to be. I don't expect it to be any better than that, which is not high praise because I thought X-Men Apocalypse was just a slug and a mess.
It was aight. But imagine
Yeah.
if Justice League turned out to be better than X-Men Apocalypse. That'll be seen a lot though.
That'll be right. That'll be a surprise as well because I expect it to be about as good as that. I don't think it'll get any better than that, frankly.
But in my opinion, I am just keeping my fingers crossed. I'm hoping because this year so far we've had 4 great superhero films.
Almost
Thor
all of the
Ragnarok
superhero
is coming
movies,
up.
right? All of them has been quite solid for me so far.
I'd be happy if this one ends off the year on a high note. Like, well, not
Right.
so much on a high note, but it satisfactory. That's what
Right.
I could think of.
Because so far both Marvels have been good. Wonder Woman has been solid, and where's the next one? Logan, right. You're not forget about Logan completely.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
the 5th film, which is coming up, is Thor Ragnarok.
Right, that is the
I
next.
love this trailer. I love
Right.
this
No,
trailer here.
here's the thing. Ironically, I actually enjoyed the Justice League trailer a little more than this one as a trailer.
Oh, how come? You find they give off too much in Ragnarok?
A little bit, and
I would agree with you there. Yeah.
I wasn't feeling a couple things in the Ragnarok trailer, but I still had a ton of fun with it. Tessa Thompson looked great. Loki looked great. I don't know the whole Thor. I'm sorry, the whole Hulk talking thing. Yeah, on the fence about that. I mean, I know he's a character that does talk. Avengers EMH had him talking, so it's not like an unprecedented thing or anything like that.
Yeah, but
I don't know.
He talks a little. I don't want to say too much, but he does give off a few. Like he talks way more than you would actually expect.
That's right, and I have an issue with that because I just wanted it to be like short sentences, just keep it on that level. But apparently they have him a lot more coherent in this, a lot more cogent than just the usual angry Hulk kicking ass kind of thing. And I don't know.
Yeah.
I would prefer to keep things like that. But like if they make it work and funny, I'll be on board. I won't have a problem with that. And then that final shot with Firelord Suter,
Yes, holy crap!
So,
Yes.
yeah, I knew they had
shot,
to bring that in.
Yeah, it's that shot and the one with Thor kind of sparking up, getting all reading like those.
Yeah. That too. That's a great scene as well.
Yes, I love that. Yeah.
Right. So as I said, this is exactly what I expected Thor Ragnarok to be like, more or less. The only thing I didn't expect was Hela being the main villain, and I get the feeling that that's not the case because in the comic, Loki is the main villain in this comic. That's from what if I remember correctly. He's the one who starts.
And Loki is in this trailer. So
Right.
I was like, yes.
But the way
Loki's
how they
back.
framing it as if he's this kind of tsundere, he turning good just like in the last movie. No.
Yeah. I'm getting that feeling too.
That is not the case. I get the feeling there's probably a big setup, something involving Loki. I don't know. They have Claire. What's her name? Hela. I forget the actress name.
Not Kate Blanchett.
Yeah, Kate Blanchett.
Yes, right.
Kate Blanchett. You're right. They have her as the main villain, but I don't think she will be the main villain for the entire story. I get that feeling.
Yeah, I think there's gonna be somebody bigger, not just that dude, but somebody else.
I get the feeling the twist is gonna be Loki's gonna be the final kind of problem, and because they have to bring back what do you call him, this fella, Odin.
Odin, yeah. But they have to explain what happened there, right?
Right, exactly. And well, it's clearly involved in Loki because that was the big ending of the last
is
movie.
Odin dead or not? We
know. We kind of know he's not dead because because of the post credit scene in Doctor Strange.
Oh, that's yes. That's true. I forgot about
that.
Yeah.
So I don't know what they're gonna do with it. It'll be interesting. As I said, I just don't like. I personally don't care how this flows from the rest of the Avengers movies because I would have personally gone with having Hulk in the Guardians movies and then do a Planet Hulk thing there. But we get in the Planet Hulk stuff anyway with this.
Yeah.
So that's fine. And then I really wanted them to like do something. Well, just to make just kind of retrospectively making Ultron better was actually killing Thor and then putting him in hell instead of just doing what they do with this. But it's kind of the same idea I had for Thor Ragnarok, and I actually like that they go in that direction. Taika Waititi is a fantastic director. He's perfect for this. All of his movies so far I've seen are excellent. The one with the vampires, and then there's one with this boy in New Zealand, a kind of fat tick boy.
Right. I haven't seen any of his films, but I need to look them up before I watch before going into Ragnarok.
Top of my head.
Yeah.
Because they're good films. They're not great films, but he's like again much like a James Gunn, perfect for this material.
I mean, in terms of like what visuals or
just in terms of vision and energy, and just making sure the audience remains entertained. Right, I kind of put him in the same bag there. He's that guy. So I just hype for this. It's just a big 80s Flash Gordon movie.
Yes, good reference there.
Yeah,
Flash
that's pretty much what we get.
And I think they might make something really solid. You know?
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Let's
make it funny.
Right. And on the subject of just sticking to Marvel one last time. Leaked footage of the Infinity War footage that was shown. Right. I saw a little glimpse of it. Just
right.
Oh gosh. With Chris Pratt's character and all, I was like, nope, I don't want to see it.
Right. Really, well, yeah, I watched the kind of pseudo leaked. Yeah, I saw the leaked stuff. But they had two versions of it. One was a kind of bad slanted angle, because they really had like big security and you really had to keep that shit under wraps.
Right. And then I think that's the one I looked at first. Yeah.
Right, and then they had a second one with a much better angle, much better view on the screen, and you pretty much see the entire trailer. And yeah, it looked pretty good. Don't
tell what happens, please. But
right, well, no, but if a bunch of journalists like said what happened anyway, so it's pretty much that. I don't really have any big spoilers there, but we know who facing off against whom, and we don't really know. It is a teaser by its own. So even if you saw it, even if Marvel released it, you won't know much about it. You just know that Thanos here and kicking ass. That's it. That's pretty much it.
Right.
And what I knew that's the thing with Marvel. Again, much better showmanship than say DC. Is that Marvel understand that even their trailers are kind of events on themselves.
Yes.
So they know how to control and keep that flow of the story and how to make workable hype built into their films very, very well. And this trailer, whenever they release it, more than likely they're going to release it around the time of Thor. That's what I expect anyway.
It would be dope if they do like with Captain America, the first Avenger, where you have that little trailer-esque kind of post-credit scene at the very end, which hint. Well, pretty much showing what's gonna happen.
Right, some people that's a possibility as well. Where when First Avenger, the post-credit scene was just a trailer for Avengers.
Yes.
That might be the case for Thor as well. That might be possible. So, Thor, whatever happens at the end of Ragnarok, and Ragnarok is going to be a big deal. It is a big deal in the Marvel Universe. So, that is going to be a big groundswell, big shake up in the narrative.
Yes.
And so, to have it lead straight into Avengers will be interesting. Mm-hmm. And what I suspect is that what will be kind of awesome, I don't know if they'll do it, but I don't think they'll do it, but what will be kind of awesome is if Thanos makes an appearance in Thor.
Oh.
So that would be like the big twist now. It's shit, that's a big thing.
Yeah,
that's a big pom-pom scenario that goes on. Like I get the feeling that it's going to be bigger than we think. It's not just this and not just this. It's going to be big, but it's going to be bigger than we think in the core central narrative. I don't know. I pretty hype. Marvel's still on track and they're still solid. As they say, the only big problem with Marvel is everything is just shot so damn flat. That is the problem.
Yeah, everybody likes to talk about that, really.
Right, that's kind of the only big problem. But as just making a coherent and cohesive story and making sure everything is, world building on point. It's a little factory like, but that's the trade-off you have to get if you want to make sure the shit get done properly and as a proper narrative and coherency for the most part.
Right. Agreed.
To me, they have stuff pretty much like 90% right, at least in terms of coherency. There's mock up the little issues here or there. You cannot see that with Spider-Man, but that's about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Just a couple of TV trailers that came out. I know that a trailer for season 6 of Arrow came out. Unfortunately, I didn't see it. I'm
Right.
kind of holding back on it for now until I know when the season premiere is coming out. I'm not too sure when it is, but I did see the one for season 4 of Flash, and it looks interesting. It looks interesting enough. I find that they give too much. It feels like all of this is just stuff that happening in like the first couple of episodes, if you will.
Yeah, the same kind of BS for every Flash season.
Mm-hmm.
Like, okay, like at most 5 episodes, they'll wrap up whatever the big cliffhanger arc, and then they'll really start the season at that point.
Yeah, but what we gain here is just essentially we getting a Flash, but is it going to be Barry Allen or is it going to be somebody else? We don't know.
Well, it's probably it's more likely going to do the Wally being Flash, and we think is this, and I don't know what they're going to do with it. I have no idea what his arc is going to be, but that's the whole point. The thing is, I thought season 3 was a bit of a disappointment, and
I find that they just try to come up with this really heart-tugging end because they need one.
We talked about this in a previous podcast, but it basically was a wasted premise. I mean, the idea that you have the darkest, quote unquote, darkest possible Barry is not a bad idea, but they didn't do anything with it. You know, especially they kind of just rushed that whole narrative. They did. So I want to see. Here's the thing. I personally, at this point, no more evil speedsters. I want them to just wrap that up. Just do a good rogue season. We didn't get a full rogue season yet. Do a rogues working together or something, right?
Right.
Mix it up and make it interesting. They could bring in I forget the character. I think it's General Eiling. That is oh gosh, I forget Lex Luthor voice actor. No, I forget his name. Clancy Brown.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, Clancy Brown, the big general. He's a big general, and he's a big villain in the story. I forget the name of the character, but he just basically turned to he's kind of like General Ross. General Ross has Red Hulk.
Yes, Thunderbolt Ross. Sorry, yeah.
Thunderbolt Ross, right? He is that kind of basically the DC equivalent of that character now.
Oh.
And yeah, they should do something like that. It does mix it up, make it interesting, make it wild and over the top, but no evil speedster. Just have it be Flash and Wally kicking ass, beating back, villains, and the villains come up with a real decent plan to work against Flash. Do something.
And of course, the possibility of whether Barry will return or not. I think.
Barry coming back. We know he coming back.
Of
Come
course,
on.
yeah.
But
it's just how they are to justify it, though.
I don't really see, because it's easy to justify, in my opinion. You just have to have the Speed Force release him. Just say, okay, we need you to solve a bigger problem. We're kicking you out for now. Your penance
will be back because.
Right.
I don't know.
That's all they have to do.
Yeah.
That's all they have to do, and just make it interesting. And what they could do, I had a plan of what they should do for future seasons. In my opinion, season 4 should be a rogue season. Yes, rogues, make it a kick-ass rogue season. The rogues come up with a dread plan, and then Barry had to beat them back. Don't make it too incredible or out there. No cosmological nothing. Just have it be speedsters versus the bad guys, beat them back, and you just do a simple story.
As you bring that up, right? Remember nearing the end of season 2 when Zoom brought all the villains of Earth 2, and they just wrapped that episode so fast.
Exactly. That was so stupid.
It was the meta apocalypse, and I always wondered, why did they rush?
Yeah, I hated that.
They set it up so great, right?
Yeah.
And they had 3 more episodes left. The whole episode could have been about them fighting those villains. They just wrapped up in 10 minutes.
Yeah, exactly. And I hated that. But they should do that for this season. We still didn't see Mirror Master do anything interesting in this season. They could have do something with him. Mirror Master, Gil Spin, what's your name? Top. She could do something interesting.
But the whole visual effect that they used for them was pretty cool.
I was like those 2 characters. They could do just bring back as many rogues as they can, come up with a reason, and then have Barry just taking them on. Just our rogues taking over the city stuff.
Yeah,
bring back Rod.
I think they did establish it in this trailer here, where Flash is no more, so now we can run wild and do what we want. So
and come up with something real clever. And then, for season 5, what they should do is really embrace the multiverse. I did my own on my little forum thing that is just come up with a plan of what they should do for the future. And season 5 should just be multiverse. Do a multiverse story. In my head, I would do something like Jesse gets kidnapped, and they're looking for Jesse throughout all the multiverse. So you go back to Earth 19, you get to see Accelerated Man in action. Have what's her name, boy? Basically deal with Cisco powers now. Forget your name.
Oh, not Gypsy.
Gypsy, right?
Gypsy,
yeah,
right.
Have Gypsy help them out. So it's like a big them traveling to multiple multiverse. Do a little crossover with Supergirl. Do a crossover with some other thing, and then what you do, you have a big mystery going on. It's like, wait, what's going on through the multiverse? That's somebody traveling through multiverse, doing something, and they had to look for Jesse. But what's going on? Why is this? What's going on?
That kind of reminds me of like Fringe, though. I think Fringe.
Right,
there
exactly.
Was a season that did something like that.
Exactly. You already have the multiverse stuff. Explore that and then embrace the multiverse stuff. And in my head, I had you could do a big crossover. You know, could be a big guest star. Anyone knows? By the time this season 5 wraps around, Ezra Miller.
Yes.
Yes, that'll be awesome. And
I think yeah. Did anybody? No, I was wondering if they ever considered it, or like, I don't know.
That's the thing.
I think it's something they really should consider. DC, I mean.
But that's the thing. One thing DC could do is a crisis. So you imply a crisis event is coming up now. Have Ezra Miller do a cameo, right? Have a season episode dedicated to him, kick-ass episode, you know, and then we get the sense, oh shit, the DCEU is part of this multiverse thing. It's just one of the universes.
Yes.
So that means the TV people could show up in the movies. You have to, engage your fans.
Yeah.
The fans love the TV show. Have characters show up. Have multiple versions of Batman show up. Have multiple versions of Superman show up. Have multiple versions of Flash show up. Shit like that.
No, you'd think that DC would have done this a long while ago.
I have no idea because they could barely get one Batman Superman crossover, right? So I don't know what they could do with that. Whatever.
They could have done this after Man of Steel, though, or something. I don't know.
Something, whatever. Yeah. And then the big plot for this season 5 is have it be a Wells. So you have an evil Wells out there. You could do the Rick and Morty thing where you have the Council of Ricks, or like from Marvel, the Council of Reeds, Council of Wells, a bunch of evil Wells, and come up with some bullshit like, well, they want a scientific way to tap into the Speed Force, but they needed somebody who's both a speedster and somebody with Wells DNA. So they could contact the information somehow with some evil shit, but it'll cause disaster to the Speed Force with their science, and that's why Jesse was kidnapped. And you could come up with some bullshit. Have Harry be the hero because it's his daughter. No science is worth his daughter's life. That's your plot right there. That's your season 5. You're welcome. Whatever.
Yeah, but that's a great idea, though. Like I say, you'd think they would come up, they would figure it out already. Well, people love the TV shows. They could be indifferent about the movies, but
in defense of the writers, in defense of the writers of the TV show, I think the writers of the TV shows are very conscientious of the material. So I defend them for the most part. Yeah, they kind of fuck it up with season 3, but for the most part, I thought they've been doing such a good job, especially that first season.
Yes.
That first season was so well done. And then speaking of that, for season 6, bring back the Yellow Flash. Final big badass ultimate battle between Barry and Yellow Flash. That's the whole. There's every version of Yellow Flash in the future, in the past. You tell the story of the origin of Eobard. Tell that story. Like, give us like a good 5-episode arc of just the origin of Eobard. Why does he hate Barry? Come up, because that's a whole comic. That was a whole comic. Just tell that story. It's pretty badass, actually.
Right.
Just tell that in the TV show. The actor Matt Lesher is an excellent actor in my opinion. I love that dude. He's like easily one of my favorite TV show people right now. And just dedicate something to get the guy's a good actor. Give him good material to work with. Just rap. And then you could have, like, you see how the Speed Force is like how Deep Space Nine is like the evil gods.
Yeah.
Right. Just have it like the equivalent of the pirates for Yellow Flash. So you come up with the negative Speed Force, the bad Speed Force versus the good Speed Force, and Barry and Yellow Flash is the two kind of subjects for that.
Yeah, the representatives, if you will. Yeah.
They're the focal point for that. And that's the story there, and that's your final episode, and you end the show at season 6. Make it go out on top. Don't Smallville this shit.
Oh, please, God, no. And I'm hoping and praying that they don't do the same thing for Arrow. I don't want them to go to like 10 seasons because...
Wrap it up. Wrap up that show.
Or even with Supernatural with like, 12 seasons or even more.
No, but at least Supernatural stay okay, even though everything after Lucifer is nonsense. But, they had to keep going on. Smallville that was a big problem in Smallville. It was just so watered down.
Yeah.
It wasn't bad. It had a lot of good content in Smallville, but just everything was watered down. It's like,
it's like they're just forcing themselves to do more episodes because the fans, quote-unquote,
because if Smallville was 6 seasons, with all of that content, Smallville would have been an amazing show.
Dude, I thought it was gonna wrap up at 5. To be honest, it just kept.
No, but season 4 was a mess. Season 4 was rubbish, and that's what I'm worried about with Flash now. Same problem. Season 4 is like a total mess.
And as you see that now, look at Arrow. About what I said about Arrow season 4 being so lackluster with the whole all the city romance thing that went nowhere.
Right.
Yeah, so that was you talking about it now. I actually a bit more fearful for season 4 Flash, but
exactly. That's the problem.
I just hope with the smart writing and the great acting.
Right. I just hope things keep. Yeah, you're right about that. I just hope things keep reasonably conscientious. Just make sure you keep focus on the theme of why Barry Allen works as a character. Keep on that central point and make it work. Because my attitude is that you could just end Flash, or maybe continue with Wally, but you start a Teen Titans something now, or like a Young Justice something. So you have the CW shows, CW DC shows go on, but shows end. So you end arcs now. Because that's the whole point, is to keep things fresh. And that's why Smallville didn't work, because it just keep going on. It just rotten.
Yeah, and it was going nowhere. It wasn't going to tie into any other show.
Exactly.
Did it tie into any other show? No, it didn't. Did it?
Exactly.
Right.
But the thing is, they were kind of intending to do a Justice League something, but that just kind of fell through. So, anyway, but the thing is with it is that my thing is that, well, in the case of Legends of Tomorrow, that show is a kind of rare example, because Legends of Tomorrow is kind of basically a Doctor Who show, American Doctor Who show anyway.
Yes.
So that could keep going on indefinitely. You could just keep bringing in, random DC characters and make it work.
Just go crazy with it.
That show could get it 10 seasons or however long they want to go, as long as people keep watching, as long as it keep bringing in ratings, right? And Supergirl is another weird beast where you have to know what you're doing with that material.
Yeah.
I'm not sure how long that could go on, frankly, but I can't see that going on 5 seasons without it getting truly stale. And it, to me, the last season was a bit of a stretch already, and that was what, season 2?
Yeah, just season 2, you know what I mean? Yeah.
Yeah, that was kind of getting long in the tooth for me, because it's like it had so many derpy episodes, and it still was some solid storytelling overall. But yeah, it had some really bad episodes in that season 2 for me. I don't know. I still excited for the DC CW show. I'll admit, nothing is still top that first season of Flash for me. I just thought that first season of Flash was so excellent and so well done.
Yeah, it was. It's still.
Yeah, I just thoroughly enjoyed it. But yeah, up to this point, they could still embrace the material and then make it work. Right. As I say. But I just my 2 things about these ideas.
Right. A couple more trailers to talk about. Stranger Things season 2.
Right.
First off, right off the bat, I love how they use Michael Jackson's Thriller in it, the Vincent Price bridge. I loved how they used that in this. It set the tone up so well, although there's one particular line that they just cut out, which is, I think it's without the soul for getting down. I think that's how it goes. I don't know, maybe you just find it sounds corny and more like it's more like telling people it's about getting out on the dance floor, but other than that, everything else with, darkness flows across the land and all that kind of stuff. It works perfectly in the tone though. I love it what I've seen here. I love the Ghostbusters aesthetic. I want to see how they play that out. Right. And yeah, this season looks crazy and dark. Right. Well, darker, I should say, darker than the first season. So all I'm just hoping is that we get more episodes, because season 1 only gave us 8, and I was like, yeah, that was good, but I want to see a little bit more. So I don't know, maybe we might get a full 13, who knows. But I am excited to see what they do with this one here.
Right.
What was your thoughts? Well, you saw the trailer, right?
Yeah, I saw the trailer. I'm not
the biggest fan of. Yes.
Right. I didn't get into it. And I watched it and I was like, okay, I get why people like this, but because it's so catered to the 80s stuff, I was like, it just kind of rubbed me the wrong way.
Yeah, well, that was the biggest strength and the biggest flaw to me, is the whole
at the same
80s
time,
nostalgia thing. Because oh gosh, it's 2016 when it came out. You're gonna have people do the same stuff because it's set in the 80s. Like, come on, it's like Alien Covenant all over again. This season 2 looks really good. It's coming out before Halloween, which is pretty good. So hopefully when we could check that out, binge it. I'm gonna make sure to binge it, and then we'll give our full review of that. Another trailer came out. I don't think it came out for Comic-Con, but just something on the subject of Netflix. The second trailer for Defenders.
Right. Yeah.
I like it. I like what I'm seeing here. One thing I like that they're doing the thing look more awesome.
Right. They're doing the thing that I want them to do with this. Again, from the trailer, good direction, good material. Even though I was somewhat disappointed in Daredevil season 2, they seem to be doing the thing that I wanted them to do for this with Punisher.
Yeah, well, I'm glad to see Punisher is back for one thing.
Right.
Elektra, I guess. I wasn't the biggest fan of Elektra in the season 2.
That's the thing. They had to have her as a villain for this because it had to have a big blowout versus her anyway. So they had to have a central fighter villain. No? You can't just have what's she name by Ripley. No?
Yeah. Sigourney Weaver. Yeah.
Sigourney Weaver as the main villain and just Marlon God because they're just kind of hands-off villains anyway.
Yeah.
They
But
can't
the
fight
question, who is I saying Ripley? Who is Sigourney Weaver gonna play?
I forget the character's name. I forget the comic character's name because I think they invented for this. I can't remember.
Right.
But I'm not. She just looked like akin to another character, akin to Madame Gao, akin to Alfred Woodard's character. Just kind of hands off
from what's the name? From Luke Cage. Yeah.
Luke Cage. Yeah, that's kind of hands off evil female villain that just don't really do anything much, but they kind of have power, but it's more organizational power kind of thing. And just basically the Hillary Clinton surrogate. No?
Right. Yes. On the subject of Luke Cage, though, I liking him and Jessica Jones as part of his team being the street guys, if you will. Is like, well, I like this line where he says, "I don't want to be why am I in this group of super friends?" And I was like, "Oh, you guys, I see what y'all did there."
Right. And well, they made fun of Iron Fist by saying, his chi, he got his chi at Jessica Jones is like, no, you're basically a mutant. They just made that joke one time. Though.
Yeah, I just loving Luke Cage's and Jessica Jones quips. I love it. I want to see if they're gonna develop their relationship. Remember, they did have a relationship.
Right.
In Jessica Jones season 1, so I want to see how that's developed.
Right. What they'll do it.
Yeah, but of course, I think the one thing people just hoping here, or at least I for myself kind of hoping that we'll see is Iron Fist really grow into himself, become a hero, not just the kind of dopey kind of, well, I must fight and this is about honor, that little high school kid instead of a grown man with
as I say, I didn't really need Iron Fist to be a big deep story or anything like that, right? All it needed to do was just simple world building and then actually be entertaining. The big sin of Iron Fist. The big sin of Iron Fist was the choreography, right? The choreography was just terrible. And I was like, this character, he's supposed to be the best fighter in the Marvel Universe. And yet you have some of the worst choreography, nothing, it looked really poorly thought out, compared to Daredevil.
Yeah.
Which is like so well done, so well thought out, well planned. And well shot. This was like some anybody, you remember an old TV show called Raven?
Dude, I thought I was the only person who remember that show.
Or shit like it really looked like some mid-90s bullshit now. Raven, Kung Fu the Legend Continues.
Oh my god.
Renegade. That bullshit.
Those kind of
it just like you can't really have like when you watch
fight scenes and it just
come on guys. Come on.
Well,
from what I heard, they changed the showrunner for Iron Fist, so that's good news. I don't try to get into the weeds of all of that backlot drama, but yeah, they changed the showrunner. They got rid of the guy, and I was like, all right, good. At least they gonna have a different. From what I understand, they're gonna get a different, younger energy, and the main thing, just have good choreography.
Yes,
that's the main.
Please,
so for this, I heard they're gonna give us a good material with the with that. Action look pretty decent. I don't know what they're gonna do with the story. I know it's supposed to be Han and Jessica. Sorry, not Jessica.
There's something kind of supernatural going on. I'm wondering if it is the Han or something else, because like in the trailer you're seeing rumblings and just stuff, something dark is gonna surface now. You don't know what it is, but I think it's something more than the Han. I think the Han is just the beginning.
Right, I don't know what they're doing, but whatever. Just don't get too ridiculous. I actually really hate the fact that they have magic in this way. Like especially in Daredevil, I really hated that. But whatever. Go through.
Yeah.
And a solid trailer. I had some fun with it. So cool.
Right. Just a couple more trailers to talk about. There was another trailer for Blade Runner 2049.
Right, look good.
Yeah, looks good. Of course, Roger Deakins. Everybody just praising this guy, even though the movie hasn't come out. People saying that like he should be billed as the director of this movie, because just off the visuals alone, But I'm liking what I'm seeing here visually, but the story is one that I'm just keeping my fingers crossed.
Right.
Yeah.
Here's the thing. Villeneuve is an excellent director. You can't take that from the man, right? The man does know how to tell good stories, even though his movies aren't absolute brilliance for me. Some of his movies, especially the more grounded, realistic movies, are brilliant for me, right? Both Prisoners and Sicario is up.
Love Prisoners, by the way.
Prisoners and Sicario is up there for me. I didn't really feel Arrival all that much. I really had no more problems with it.
Yeah,
And
Arrival was good, but not great.
Right.
Could have been better. I should say.
right, I had there's only one big problem I had with it, and to me, I hated that because the book already addressed it and fixed it.
Mhm.
So I hated like why it is you regress the narrative in that way, but whatever.
Right.
And what's the movie did? Enemy.
Yeah, which I have yet to see. I've heard a lot of things about it being weird and just the ending is one that you had to read up a set of interpretations on.
Right,
but
it's one of those. It's
yeah.
one of those film studies bullshit. No, that
Yeah.
was one of those. I mean, good. It's a very well made movie, but it's one of those. Much better than its counter narrative version, the double. But still, you'll be on the fence about stuff like that.
Yeah.
It's whether or not you want to engage in that on that level, whatever.
Right.
So he is a director that I have a lot of faith in. He's a man who knows how to treat material good, for the most part, at least from a filmmaker's perspective. But is whether or not they're gonna make this story interesting, because the big movie that is a kind of red flag that made me think that they're gonna fuck this up was Ghost in the Shell, right?
Yeah, which is funny because imagine the show being praised even more, and I imagine it will, than Ghost in the Shell. Be like, well,
But I
guys,
think-
why will they bring out Ghost in the Shell?
Yeah,
It's further proof that they could have brought that movie out years ago, you know?
right. But that's the thing with Ghost in the Shell. Ghost in the Shell was they just didn't like take the material and try to build from it at all. They just decided to do this basic story. It felt.
I mean, I still like the show, but it could have been way better.
I was overwhelmed by it, frankly. And I didn't hate what they did with some things, but for the most part, it's like, it felt almost retro future now. Like
Right.
a lot of it didn't evolve in the proper way. Didn't really work. And then with this, I hope they tell a smart story now. You have to
Yes.
build on the world well. What are you going to do with that?
Yes.
Right? So,
but the one thing that's bugging me though, is that I think they're playing on the fact that Deckard, Harrison Ford's character may actually be a replicant. That's what's being hinted here now, because they're coming for you, but who is coming for him? You know, that kind of thing.
Well,
is it more Blade Runners? I don't know.
Right.
Yeah.
This is the one example of where I absolutely hate. This is where this fellow Ridley Scott absolutely lose me, because he was so adamant about the fact that Deckard was a replicant. Harrison Ford disagreed with it. He found it stupid and undermines the character. Philip K. Dick himself don't disagree with the idea. He said no, it's not a replicant. He made sure and went out his way to make sure to tell people that's not the case.
Right, but the
So
fans
they're
are
trying
like,
to fight.
well, maybe he is, and everybody
Yeah, so
just
the
speculated on it.
whole Deckard is a replicant thing is just so goddamn dumb in my opinion. But whatever. Because a lot of people say, Edward James Olmos's character, I forget his character's name in anything. Lash?
No,
What's
no.
his name?
I forgot his name. It's a Spanish
Dash?
name, I think it is. No.
Dash?
But you're talking about that the part where he leave the origami thing of the
Right,
unicorn
exactly.
thing. So how he
exactly.
knew about Deckard's dream about the unicorn and all that kind of stuff.
Right.
Yeah,
Now-
all those. I mean, it's nice to analyze films
Yeah,
like
it's
that.
a
I mean,
reading,
it makes
it's a
it
reading
makes
tit,
it
it's a
fresh.
reading tit kind of thing.
Yeah, but
the
it's
big
like,
theory was
really.
the big fan theory was that
Right.
Israeli Edward James Olmos character is real Blade Runner, and he does.
I remember. I heard that. I
That
was
bullshit.
like, no,
I
you're
absolutely
kind of
hate
serious.
that. Whatever. Point is, here's what I guess is the case. My pet theory is that they're gonna embrace that fan theory. So Harrison Ford is human, and Ryan Gosling is the replicant.
Ooh, okay.
That's what I think they're gonna do with it. So and then he was always a Blade Runner, and they're using him to set up and solve a problem now, whatever the big problem is. And Florida Joker in this movie now, what do you call him?
Not Jared Leto.
Yeah, Jared Leto, Florida Joker. I was calling Florida Joker.
Florida Joker.
Yeah,
I don't know
basically,
who his character is. I don't
Well,
want to
he
know
looks
about it
like-
until the movie comes out.
He's look like the Tyrell replacement. He's kind of the Tyrell character. He's supposed to be a designer, but remember Tyrell dead, so he's like the new replicant designer. I feel that is what he is. I don't think they're gonna go any further or deeper with that with him.
Okay.
He just kind of replacing Tyrell, or like another company that like Tyrell, similar. No, whatever.
Yeah.
So that is pretty much it. I don't expect this to be. I don't expect to be truly wowed with it. It's gonna look good. I'll try to see it on a big screen to be nice and press Roger Deakins. They look good, nice. Camera looking good. You have a big fancy camera. That's nice.
Yeah.
But that's about it. I don't think they're gonna blow my mind particularly with it, but I think they're gonna have something clever with it. Because Roger Deakins don't half-ass things. That is my thing with it.
No.
He's a good director. He's a very good director, right?
Well, good DP, we should say DP. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. But
I think he's a really good director, and he's a very conscientious director.
yes.
I don't know who they're gonna because and yet he also gonna do the movie. Well, I don't know if he's still on board with this project. He's gonna do the Dune movie, which I thought Nicholas Ryan Refn was gonna do because he showed up in that Jodorowsky's Dune documentary a lot of times.
Right.
Like, oh, you're going to do a Dune movie though. That's what I thought it was. But yeah, he doing Villeneuve doing Dune as well. So again, big sci-fi projects, and he's a man that just it's high time we getting good material now.
Yeah, of course.
To do this stuff well in a good remake way. Like if you're doing your remakes, do your remakes properly, right?
Yeah.
So whatever.
All right. Well, what I would just say finally about that Blade Runner 2049, just the movie in general, is that I hope that, I mean, it's been 35 years since the original film came out. I just hope that this film does the franchise justice. I hope it's not just there as a cash grab or just a nostalgia piece, just because I hope that it really does live up to the hype. It really does serve as a great follow-up from a superior film. You know what I mean? I don't want to just be there like, oh, well, we just had this idea and we just threw it out there, so here you go. But it doesn't live up to, like, the original. You know what I mean? I wanted to do so, or at least, and I expected it to I don't know, to ascend itself over the original one. I don't know if it will, but I'm just hoping that it just does something great with it, you know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah. Oh yes, and last but certainly not least, a trailer that I like. When I saw the name for it, I was like, what is this? And then I saw it and I was like, okay, this looking amazing. I'm loving this. I have no clue what it's about. Haven't read the book fit. Ready Player One.
Yes. Okay. So it's actually quite fascinating that this is playing out the way it does, because here's the interesting thing. The director, he's actually the most interesting part of this. Why? Because he kind of invented a lot of the pop culture that the book is critiquing. And that's kind of interesting to have. Now, when I heard he was going to direct it, I didn't read the book at the time.
Right.
When I heard that Steven Spielberg was going to direct it, right? And so I was like, okay, he just doing this book. And I just think the book was just a future book, just another YA novel kind of thing. When I actually read the book, it's like, oh shit, this book is like a real big critique on pop culture and media consumption and all that stuff now. Like a really, really big critique of that. It's almost really subversive in that way.
Yeah.
It's way smarter than, now the book it's not a perfect book and it has its problems, but it's way smarter than something like Hunger Games. And Hunger Games really try to be a big critique of certain things in society, right?
Yes.
So to see Spielberg, the big thing is just to justify why you get to see all of this pop culture material in the movie, right? You get to see the DeLorean and so on. So because that's clearly Spielberg connecting his connections and lawyer stuff, so you don't have to have a replacement. You don't get sued by these companies because he's pretty much in charge of all of that shit anyway, right?
Right. Yeah.
But he himself, as a director, has been so influential on American pop culture in the last 30 to 40 years.
Mm-hmm.
To see him now come back as a director on something that is a big critique of that pop culture and how we consume media today, because that's basically what the story is about. It's about media consumption.
Yeah.
Right. The book,
I think that's great for his career, though. Like, in this,
that is
in this
really
fascinating. This Twilight chapter of his career.
That's the thing.
Now he can make a film that kind of critiques the stuff that he pretty much helped influence.
Created.
That's
exactly.
Great, yeah.
And to see him come full circle and to see him treat the material, I want to see what they're gonna do with it. I want to see how he's gonna do that. I'm really, really interested in that aspect of the whole thing. So it's really, really interesting to see what you're gonna do with that. It's way smarter than, again, like just to compare to the other YA novels, it's way smarter than the other YA material. And I really hope they don't half-ass it like Ender's Game, right?
Which I haven't seen, but I heard the only good thing in that movie was the boy. Well, the lead star, I think he was like the best.
He was actually pretty flat for me. Although that's his best role, because in every other movie I've seen him in, he's terrible.
Right.
What's his name? Asa Butterfield or Asa Butterfield or whatever it is.
Yes, that's his face, right? Yeah.
He was supposed to be Spider-Man.
Oh, God forbid.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. I don't know how that would turn out. But no, Ender's Game fell flat. Like, it's a book that is really famous. A lot of people love the book. I remember reading the book when I was in mid-2000s. I liked the book. Solid book. But that movie fell goddamn flat for me. It wasn't horrible. It wasn't the worst thing ever or anything like that. But geez, boy, within hours, I completely forget that movie existed. It didn't work at all. I hope they don't fuck it up like the movie The Giver. Again, another classic YA novel that they just royally fuck up the movie for.
Right.
The Giver is a fantastic novel in my opinion. I really, really like the original book, but jeez, boy, they fucked that movie up so goddamn badly. Yeah? And then, well, all the other contemporary YA novels are just complete garbage in my opinion. All the recent ones that they just rush out as a movie, like Divergent and all that bullshit, I don't expect it to be that bad.
Yeah.
But if they sit down and keep to the core story about why the book worked, I'm reasonably excited, especially the fact that Spielberg, he has this dichotomous relationship to what's going on there. Yeah, that might be a really interesting thing, about, because you're starting to see a big cultural blowback to a lot of digital culture now is in the real world. You're starting to see kind of the return of, we could argue about this, but the return of somewhat religiosity, the return of kind of unplugging of digital media, rejection of video games, rejection of pornography, rejection of a lot of like just general what the nature of the internet should be, what internet culture should be, how we should think about the contemplative life and just the pixels and the idea of what modern life does to our dopamine and how these little social media hijacking ourselves and why people will plug out of the real world, right?
Yeah.
And they get into that. The book does a lot of that. It's actually reasonably well written in that way. I mean, it's still not brilliant literature, but it's still a good modern classic in that sense. And I would like to see that back and forth go, especially within the project. So it has to be really, really smart in that way.
Right.
Yeah, so I'm pretty excited for Ready Player One. It looks great.
Yeah. I love the visuals. That catchy scene just blew me away.
Yeah.
I was like, okay, what exactly am I don't know what I'm watching, but it looks incredible. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you see Freddy Krueger in it and all these like just a bunch of pop culture stuff in it. Like it had DeLorean in it. I'm like, all right, what?
Yeah, but this is one that I know as I always say this, I definitely need to read the book. I need to understand the full context of it before going in. Because I'll just watch the show and be like, oh yeah, pop culture references here and there. All right, I guess that's the point. But I know there's more going on,
Yeah, I read the book when did they announce Ready Player One? When Steven Spielberg was going to be the director, boy. That was a while, like 2 years, I think.
Oh, 2 years. Okay, I would assume it was like last year or something like that.
No. When they announced him, he was going to be director of it.
Oh, okay. So as you heard that, you just jumped on board.
Right. Well, I just kind of took the effort. About a month after, I just took the effort to just go read the book. I don't know. You could probably go. I don't know. Check. Well, the probably quickest way to get some info on it. Probably you could check if one of those guys in it was, I forget the name of the internet company, but the Tug Notes guy,
Oh yes, that guy. Yes.
Right.
I think he did put out a video with
Probably did it. Yeah,
he probably.
Did.
If I'm not mistaken. Yeah, I really need to check that channel out.
Right.
Yeah. All right. So moving along from trailers, now we're gonna get into not so much sad news because the news came out about a week ago, but now we're gonna share our thoughts on the unfortunate passing of Chester Bennington.
Yes.
One of the main singers for Linkin Park. He was like legend. He was well known, I should say, for his loud, just abrasive voice. Every like when he belts out his choruses and stuff. The way how he was able to channel so much of rage and just emotion out of his voice with those early Linkin Park albums, and just when the news came out, it was Thursday actually, Thursday, sorry, July 20th when I got the news. Funny thing is, like, I didn't even know about it till I went up on Facebook and somebody say, this you're not serious, this is really not happening, right? I was like, what is going on? And then I scrolled down and I saw it happen. I was like, wow, that happened. Okay. And then from there it was just status after status after status after post after post after article about rest in peace Chester and how he passed away and all that kind of stuff, but I just have a few things to share on it, but your thoughts on this
so the thing is that like I'll admit I wasn't a big Linkin Park fan myself. I just knew about just the handful of music, the main album, and really it's only the most popular song, Numb. Right?
Yes. Or for the second album, Meteora.
Right, and then probably probably one of the most popular kind of remixes of it is Numb, when they merged Numb and Encore.
Yeah, for Collision Course.
Yeah,
which was a project at the time. I was like, Jay-Z, and you're supposed to be like retired. What are you doing this for?
Right, yeah,
I
exactly.
know this album. I was
But
like, all
the
right,
thing is,
okay.
they were. Here's the thing. What was kind of shocking about this is that usually with rock stars, if they live to 50, you would think, all right, it's time for them to just relax.
Yeah, yeah.
Usually that's why you're here. By the time they reach a certain point, they'll always be in the career. The fan base will always exist. And yeah, he was what? How old he was at
He was
that
41.
time?
He was 41 years old.
Right.
Yeah.
And so you think by then they would start to settle down with the material. In terms of his career, like if once you pass your 30s as a rock star and you ain't dead from some drug overdose or something, so you're good,
Yeah.
right? Same thing with this guy who died just the other day before him.
Chris Cornell. Yeah.
Chris Cornell, yeah, same thing, right?
Well,
In my
it
head,
was
it's-
actually on what would have been his 52nd birthday.
Yeah, so it's the same thing with that star. It's like, and then in the case of Linkin Park, they were kind of like JC leading out. They were kind of metal pop, kind of coming off of the grunge period.
Yeah. Or new metal, or whatever you want to call it, that kind of thing.
Right. He the metal pop, and they were kind of metal. A lot of people just
rap rock as well too. 'Cause
Right.
They did.
It's at a
Especially
transition
with,
into
with Mike Shinoda, he incorporated rap into their songs.
yeah, and so they started to translate into the early 2000s in an interesting way. You get to see them as a band move from the late 90s to the 2000s. That's when they kind of really became huge. It generally mainstream, but a lot of people, they were like the people who, if you're not familiar with rock, that's the band you would listen to.
Yeah, exactly. They were for the mainstream, and I mean,
Right,
I'm not
and-
knocking them down for that. I'm not saying that because you're a rock band, you have to do this hard, edgy kind of music. You could do
Right.
mainstream music and still, appeal to a lot of people, which fortunately the band itself managed to do.
Right.
Mhm.
And the thing is, what messed up this whole thing is that what was messed up, I should say, with this whole thing is, again, you just thought, once a star reaches a certain age, they kind of settle down. It's kind of like this fella, Philip Seymour Hoffman. No?
Yeah, yeah.
It catch you off guard because it's like, oh well, you think the rest of his life settled down now. You shouldn't really have any issue with all of these things. And then he ended up dying from the thing that he should have died of, or at least you expect him to die of 20 years earlier.
Yeah, when he was younger and
When he was younger and
dumber,
more wild, but
quote unquote.
yeah, exactly. And so people still could have these potential relapses in something that you're not watching, like
Yeah.
depression, right? In this case, something that you're just not keeping track of. You had to kind of not be complacent of a thing that you thought was an old solved problem, and
Yeah.
that's kind of what happened here in this case.
Yeah, and
really
that
unfortunate.
to me, they hit the nail on the head there, because you see
Yeah.
that itself is what really shocked so much people, because
Yeah.
if you remember from their previous albums, and on the subject of that, on the night of his death, I actually re-listened to Hybrid Theory and Meteor, because honestly,
Yeah.
God, I haven't listened to those albums in ages. I'll talk about how I got on board with them in a bit. So I re-listened to those albums, and believe it or not, they still hold up to this day. Not so much, not just sonically, because yes, they did a lot in terms of production, how they incorporated both rock and rap and electronic music as well. So they formed this kind of weird hybrid style of music, which actually did work. But also the lyrics as well. They really, especially with Hybrid Theory, which I could easily say is probably their best album to date.
Yeah.
You could argue with me on that, but I think Hybrid Theory is their best work. Yeah. People will say Meteor is better, but I think Hybrid really nailed it in terms of the lyrical content, and I'll say why. Because lyrically, it is pretty dark, though. It's really about just these inner emotions, specifically what Chester was going through, because he did have a rough childhood. He dealt with alcoholism, he dealt with drug abuse, he failed relationships, and all that. And it's just the way how he was able to channel all of that anger into his music and just unleash it, just like a barrage. Like every time he delivers a chorus, it's just like boom in your face now.
Yeah.
But at first, you just like, when you're young and you're not, when you're young and uninitiated into their music, now you're just hearing this guy saying "crawling in my skin" and belting it out loud, and you're thinking, oh, it's just whiny music. I know some people at the time, which is probably why some people never really used to care for the music, is that like Chester's choruses or his vocals used to sound kind of whiny, especially like with songs like "Crawling," right? But if you're digging deep and you really listen to like, or you really like read the lyrics, it's in a turmoil now. It's just stuff that not just he is going through, but other people go through as well. And just the fact that he was able to, channel that anger and make it into art, and still appeal to other people, and just let people know that, hey, I am feeling this way. I know you are feeling this way here too. We are not alone here. Let's all kind of let's not end it off. Let's not kill ourselves, by telling ourselves that we are alone in this world. You know what I mean? We all feel the same way. Let me try and relate to you through my words, through my vocals, through my songs. And that was what he did throughout the entirety of this album. You know what I mean? There were some particularly sad songs on it. There were some angry songs on it. There was like songs like, Get Away From Me and all that kind of stuff, and that, for me now, just re-listening to that album, it just made it so vibrant now, so energetic, you know what I mean? But with Meteor, which was their follow-up album, that one felt a little lighter, which was, like, if the first one was more about, this is how I feel, and I'm feeling, bad, I'm feeling, like, sick inside, get away from me. This one was more about Chester trying to deal with that anger. So I had songs like Numb, you know what I mean? I've become so numb, I don't feel you there. I'll be more like me and be less like you. You have Breaking the Habit, those kind of songs where it was like, yes, I'm feeling bad inside, but that doesn't mean I have to stay that way forever. I'm gonna try. I may not succeed all the time, but I'm gonna try at least to get out of this funk, to try and better myself, or to try not to feel depressed and lonely and confused. You know what I mean? So that's really what I got out of Meteor. But long story short, those two albums in particular really stood out the most to me, sonically, lyrically, and of course with Chester's, just those boisterous lyrics that he used to bring in there. But the big irony about this whole thing, about him committing suicide, is that if you listen to these lyrics, that they do border on suicidal thoughts. You know what I mean? It's like, dude, if nobody comes and supports this guy, that's it for him, And it's lucky for him, for Chester, that he had Mike Shinoda, he had the other members of Linkin Park to support him. It's great for him that he was able to, to tour around the world and really impact so much people, really impact that generation of the 2000s, the Generation X, that kind of thing. But still, at the end of the day, it was like, that wasn't enough. You know what I mean? That to me is what really makes it so heartbreaking now. Is that despite all the touring and all the love and all the support that I'm getting from fans around the world, that's not enough to fill this void that's still inside of me. And I guess taking my life is how I have to ultimately end it, and that's really sad.
Right.
Yeah. But just a couple things before we move on. One thing is that I kind of honestly locked off of the group around 2007, which was when they did that song for Transformers What I've Done. They had that album Minutes to Midnight, which I only listened to once, and I was like, all right, well, that was good, but just doesn't hold a candle to the previous work now, But just to talk briefly about their impact down here in Trinidad, and I imagine to other people, all over the world, especially with the anime and the otaku community. You had all these EMVs with their music, with their music weaved into it. Like Numb and Crawling, and it's funny that the Breaking the Habit music video is anime. They got the same animation studio who did the animation for that segment from Kill Bill Volume 1 with Lucy Liu's character. So it's that same studio that did that video. I actually love that video as well. But yeah, those EMVs back in the days, with of Hybrid Theory. One in particular, I don't know if you saw it. One that really stood the most to me was where they used this instrumental cut called "Cure for the Itch," which I absolutely love. I think it's one of the best instrumental tracks that Linkin Park has ever produced. I always remember seeing this video where remember when Naruto was big, and one of the big highlights of Naruto was when Rock Lee fought against Gaara. Yeah, so some guy took the video, the fight scene itself. Now he barely did any editing for it, but the way how it worked with the song because the song is real electronic and so punchy now, so in your face now. It worked well enough for this fight scene. I was like, yes, I love this. Um, but yeah, there was crawling, there was numb, yes. There was this other song. Let me find the name of it. Actually, one of my favorite songs, which was Faint. Love that
Right.
song. Somewhere I belong. Sorry, which is one of my favorite songs off of Meteora. So yeah, those two songs in particular, I remember becoming AMVs. You know. Will you remember any AMVs? Anything that's stood out to you in terms of like Linkin
I,
Park's music?
I barely remember that. I mean, I had probably had some Samurai X shit that was kind of cool.
Yeah,
12
yes,
years
yeah,
ago.
there was
Some
Summer
shit.
X, there was
Yeah.
Naruto, there
So
was
yeah,
Dragon Ball
anything that was
Z.
kind of popular, they
Yeah.
just cut it together with the music.
Yeah, but I think the for me though, my speculation, the real reason in it, not just because of the anime community at times feeling like outcasts and feeling as if they don't belong. They are in love with anime, and it's like the rest of the world doesn't really understand their love. I mean that's one of the reasons why I think Linkin Park's music connected with
Right.
that community. But for me, it's like on surface level now, I think it's because of Chester, because of that power that he brought from inside of him. So it's easy to look at, say, like a Dragon Ball Z EMV and watch Goku, charge up and thing and be like, yes, this is Chester, just releasing that rage from inward now.
Right.
And
Yeah.
usually with anime at that time, like with Samurai X and Naruto to extent, you always have that one or two characters who always have to channel that inner power inside of them and this unleash it now, whether it's in some kind of big finishing move or some fight scene or some kind of thing. So it's always like that kind of connection and that kind of visual kind of
Yeah,
connection
yeah,
with
no,
that,
that music fit the AMVs almost perfectly. I mean, it was
Yeah.
never a complaint. It's either that or some ridiculous heavy metal rock or some shit like that. But yeah, mostly it was Linkin Park. Like that was like the run. And but another impact that it would have had a little ancillary impact. I think would have had, and I know a few friends like this is anyone who had skills in editing.
Yeah,
It
like
was-
I,
it
when
was-
I when I started off editing, sorry to cut you, I started off with EMVs too, but
Right,
I
exactly,
didn't use
because-
Linkin Park's music. I used other stuff.
Yeah, that's our baby's first edit. No, that's what it was. It was great for those people. I wasn't really part of that, but yeah, I know friends. Hey, I do this EMP and look up my EMP if you like it. And yeah, a lot of people did a lot of great jobs with that material.
Yeah,
Granted, a lot of it was lazy bullshit, but it was
of
well,
course.
a 14-year-old doing the skills in editing. Yeah, great.
Yeah, and that's on a side note. The internet cafe that I used to go to when I was in secondary school. Usually, if there wasn't a person watching an EMV or playing a game, it would be somebody playing a track from Hybrid Theory or Meteora.
Right.
Just playing it on repeatness. So yeah, I was familiar with the music at the time, and then I listened to the albums. I was like, yes, I really like what I'm hearing here. But like you, I was never too deep into them. I wasn't like religiously listening to their music. I didn't follow up on the other albums after Minutes to Midnight. And just on the subject of that, there was this one last album that they brought out together as a group called One More Light, which came out
Right.
on May 19th. And the one thing that I didn't even know about this until until Chester's death is that album itself wasn't well received by fans, like diehard fans, because Linkin Park decided to go on this kind of contemporary pop approach to their music. They had two singles from it, which was Heavy, and the second one was called Talking to Myself, the video of which came out about a minute before, sorry, the announcement of Chester's that came out. So like literally I think it's like about 9:01 on the morning of July 20th is when that video came out. And just mostly like concert footage, Chester
Right.
inside the studio doing the track. And it's just Chester. Well, it's his lead now. It's him doing the vocals throughout now. Same thing with Heavy. Well, he has support from pop diva or a pop star called Kiara. Haven't heard of her. Haven't heard of her music. But essentially, Chester is in the forefront of both tracks now. And if you listen to those songs now, it's like he's not as loud as he used to be. He's not like, it doesn't sound like he's crying from inside or he's depressed or whatever. It sounds kind of typical, like it sounds kind of poppy. It sounds normal,
Right.
like like how a pop artist would perform that. you know. And yeah, like it's only recently that I heard that people didn't like the album. They find Linkin Park sold out, and why it is only doing pop four and all that kind of thing. But to me, you're an artist at the end of the day. You know what I mean,
Right.
if you are in your 40s and you don't want to be spending the rest of your career shouting into a microphone and just screaming at it or screaming at the audience, do something else. Do something a little different. Express yourself something somewhere else. If people don't like it, fine. If the record label don't like it, fine. You know what I mean? Do something else in the next album. But I could tell, like, I'm not defending the band, but I just think that as artists, they are free to experiment with music however they want to. You know what I mean? They did that before with their previous albums, because they could have just been alternative rock or metal straight through,
Right.
but they incorporated rap into it. They incorporated some electronic music into it, and people loved it. So why they can't try pop music if that's what people gravitate to do nowadays? If pop and EDM is the two biggest musical genres out right now,
Yeah.
and they want to stay relevant in 2017. Cause remember, like, they rose to prominence in like what 2001 when the first album came out. Then why not try it? Now,
Right.
reason why I'm saying all this is because I don't want. I can't say for sure, but I don't want to say that, oh well, maybe it's the bad reviews or the criticism is what led Chester to do himself in. I don't know. I can't say that for sure. Um, but it's funny now that at the end of this year, people are gonna go to this particular album and be like, yes, this album was really great and we love it now, and it's all that because you love Chester and Chester dead now. So it's um that kind of jump in this bandwagon all of a sudden, that kind of thing, when months
Right.
ago you couldn't care about the album because you felt they sold out.
Right.
Yeah.
I was so much familiar with. There was a guy well, somebody was making a kind of unfortunate joke about it. This is before he died. Long before he died, it was one of their last albums was pretty bad. I forget the guy. I think he's a guy who does all these rap reviews, and he gave them a really negative review. And that was like everybody said that might have been a wicked impetus, not his review particularly, but just the idea that the album was so poorly received by many.
Right.
So I'm not sure if that was like a big factor in terms of the end of their career or anything like that. Like they just kind of reach the ropes, and for the most part we'll ignore the very morbid pun made there.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
I don't know.
Yeah.
And I don't want to say that any form of criticism is bad in terms of it is bad to tell people who deal with depression.
Right.
I like I said, I don't want to say that those negative reviews is the reason why he did himself in, but I think it's just something deeper inside of him that unfortunately,
It's not bad,
despite the fame and the support that I knew he would have gotten from his bandmates, still wasn't rectified.
yeah.
And it's so unfortunate. But all that being said, though, his music will live on, his lyrics will live on, the power of his voice will still live on, though, and I know it will. It will continue to impact and influence other people, in the future. I don't know what the future of Linkin Park is going to be from this point on. I wouldn't be surprised if certain certain websites will put their album as one of the best of the year just because they want to cash in on the guy's death. I don't know, but yeah, dude, Chester will live on, Jed. He will live on in some way, shape, or form. That's all I have to say.
Yeah. Nice.
All right, so now we're finally gonna talk about movies. One in particular, I know that you were excited. You were adamant that you need to see, but unfortunately didn't get a chance to see it. This movie being Sleight.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
But it is coming out on Blu-ray and well, I should say home media this week at the time of this recording. But fortunately for me, I got to see a copy of it, if you will. So what is it about? Well, essentially, all right. So calling it a sci-fi, is not doing it justice. It's not so much a sci-fi as it is more of a drama, like a coming of age drama, if you will.
Right.
It centers on the character of Bo, played by Jacob Latimore.
Right.
He is this young street magician. He lives in California. He's left to take care of his little sister after his parents died, and because of that, because he's trying to find ways to sustain their family, he is a drug runner, so he works for this drug dealer named Angelo, played by Dule Hill.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
I honestly I was surprised to see him in this show. But I was like, what?
Yeah, because
Psych. He in this?
right, that's what I was saying. But that's another kind of, if you're saying another magician show, right?
Yes. Well,
Kinda.
yeah, kind of.
Yeah.
Yeah, I always loved
Okay.
the idea of it, but I just never got around to watch it. I feel
Right.
so
And
bad
then,
for
well,
seeing
he
it.
was in The West Wing as well, I think. If I
Oh, he
remember.
was okay. Right.
Yeah.
So the one trick that he had was was with playing cards. You know, he was able to wow pedestrians and stuff with his many card tricks and whatnot. And then it's then it's revealed later on in the film how he does that, and it's essentially this electromagnet that he has inside of him. I'm not gonna say where it is, but if you kind of could pick up on the on the title Sleight, you'll have idea of where it is. That's all I'll say. And he essentially uses this to kind of play around with cards and stuff now.
Yeah.
And that's how he makes his money. That's how he hustles basically. So that's
Right.
that's his hustle gig, if you will. But at night, that's where he does the whole drug stuff. So he goes around to different clubs. He deals in cocaine um, um, and ecstasy and stuff like that now. So so Angelo brings him along with this job to attack this rival drug dealer, and things kind of turn violent at that point in time.
Right.
And of course, what you would expect from this show, Bo starts to question, how he's gonna get out of this out of the situation, how he's gonna get out of this gang now. Essentially, what he wants to do is just, as you've seen in countless other films dealing with drug dealing, you want to make this certain amount of money and then you're gonna call it quits. So you have to do this one big drug deal. You have to sell this key of whatever,
Right.
and once you have that money, then you have enough to leave now. But then we slowly realize that that's not gonna be as easy as you would expect, because Angelo, despite the face that he has, because like when you see him like in Psycho, when you see him in this movie, he looks like the last person that would just roll up to you and shoot you or beat you up. Yeah, well, actually, he's more the type that would beat you up before he even shoots you. So it's like
Right.
that now. So it's really about him trying to get out. It's really about Bo, sorry, trying to get out of this whole drug gang thing. But of course, because of this electromagnet thing, what he has, he does. There is a point in time where he uses that to his will, and that's where the whole superhero element that was hinted at in the the promos for this show, where they say it's one of the coolest superhero films in years. That's where
Right.
the whole superhero element comes into play, because in a way, yes, he does have a superpower, but it's how he uses that power, not just to get out of the gang, but to protect his sister and his friends.
Right. So it's a more Iron Man kind of something going on.
In a way, yeah.
Right.
But it's
More tech.
yeah, more like, how to say it. It's more like an indie version of Iron Man, but more like the early beginnings of how this person became this character. So
Right.
people going into this thing expecting, like I say, a superhero film are gonna be very, very, very disappointed by this one. This is more a drama than anything else, more urban drama than anything else, because it's really about seeing the world through Bo. Because on the one hand, he wants to do magic, he wants to be a great magician, especially with playing cards and the kind of things he could do with it. And also there's a little subplot where we learn that he was involved. He is actually still very passionate about science, but he just kind of realized during college that there's no real profession for him in terms of science where he could actually make money, to take care of his sister. So he kind of dropped out of college and stuff, and just decided to make money, the legal way. And then on the other hand, we have this story, like I said, what you've seen before, about this young drug dealer. He's very street smart. He knows his way around things, but then he gets in too deep when he gets involved in this violent situation. Now it's like, how do I get out? And now these
Right.
people are after me and all that kind of stuff. So these things that you've seen before, but just the way how the whole magic quote unquote element is used, I thought was pretty unique. I wouldn't
Right.
say original, but unique is the best way to describe it.
Okay.
The acting for the most part I thought was pretty decent. Jacob Latimore, who plays Bo, I thought he was great. I know I've seen this guy somewhere in another show. He has that face. He has a familiar looking face, but like I reading up here, he appeared in Ride Along. He was in the Maze Runner. He was also
Okay.
in Collateral Beauty, which is a show
Oh,
that
really?
I avoided at all costs because of how
Oh,
bad
right.
it was.
Yeah, he was the kid in the what is the one of the actors playing the emotions or some shit too, right? He was in that.
Oh, really? Okay, I thought he was like
Okay,
Will
okay.
Smith's son or some
Right.
kind of
Well,
thing.
I
don't
just I
know.
could just tell it that from the trailer because I did not see Collateral Beauty.
Yeah, as soon as word came out of that movie, suck, I was like,
Yeah,
nah,
bullshit.
nah, because they were all trying to pitch it as, oh, you want to cry and weep for Christmas? Here's
Now,
a
by
movie.
the time I see Will Smith, by the time I saw the trailer, I was like, yeah, this is gonna be a mess.
Oh Lord, way. Will Smith
Okay.
and dramas, way. You just need to stop. But anyway, Dooley Hill do surprise me as Angelo because, like I said before, because he has this kind of charming face. That he's like the last
Right.
person you'd expect to
I
play
think he's not a bad guy. So when they tell him that he uses drug posts, they're like, what? Alright.
Yeah, and I like how he plays the character though, because he is that type of person. He'll be cool with you. He'll talk to you normal and thing. But
Right.
he's all about the business as well too. And if he realize he's slipping, if he realize some man come hustling on his turf, he's gonna do something about it. He's gonna bring his goons, and he's gonna rough people up. And if push comes to shove, things will get kind of bloody now. One thing I was expecting in the film, because it's from WWE Studios, I was expecting like a wrestler or two to make a cameo. I was like
sure,
watching
yeah.
her face, and I was like, wait, she's a wrestler? Wait, he's a wrestler?
Right,
He looking
right.
kind of big and tough. There's like this one tug looking guy in it. It's like, wait,
Right.
he's a wrestler? But no, actually, there's no wrestlers that I could speak of that make appearance in this film.
Okay.
The writing, for the most part, I thought was really good as well. The overall thing for me is that it does feel like an indie film. Now. It does feel like a debut feature film. Now. You could
Right.
tell that the budget wasn't that high, and you have these actors for like about like a 3 weeks or whatever. Let me see what
Right.
we could pull off. Let me not use a lot of sets. Let me just shoot a lot of in-house stuff. You know what I mean? Those kind of things. It has an indie feel to it. I was very impressed by the cinematography though. For its budget, I thought that the cinematography, especially the interior shots, were very well done. Was looked very good, I should say.
Right.
I love the lighting in it. I thought the lighting was really great as well. Lots of yellows that they used, especially in the interior shots. A lot of yellows and oranges, I should say. The exterior shots look pretty good as well, but more the interiors really wowed me. I thought that Bo as a character was pretty intriguing as well. I like that he didn't play to too much conventions where all of a sudden he just kind of knows how to outwit all the bad guys. You know what I mean? He knows how to play his enemies out so smart, all that kind of thing. He is vulnerable because he is in this situation where you could tell he kind of doing this because he have no choice, but it's getting out now. That's the hard part. You know what I mean? I like how they played. They even give him a little love interest as well. Her real name is Seychelle Gabriel. First time I'm hearing about her. She plays Holly. I like the little relationship that they have. And once again, in terms of that relationship, it's not playing along with certain conventions that you would expect. You know what I mean? Like, oh, well, I'm in love with you, so now I'm going to run away with you. But first I have to make this deal, and we're going to run away to, New York or whatever it is. It's not like that. It plays out as real as it could get. And that's the one thing that they really play on this. It's trying to create a sort of realistic world, if you will. It's not overly realistic because, of this whole electromagnetic thing. But the world, at least, that they're trying to create is real, where, heroes, will come in all shapes and sizes, not just this guy who's just this tough guy, you know what I mean? It could be this normal dude who's just playing with who's just doing card tricks by the corner, you know what I mean? It's that approach, that kind of aesthetic that they're going for with this film. If I could, it's what I would say, it's not a perfect film by a long shot. One of the major flaws with this is that even though the film clocks in at 89 minutes, there are moments which do drag, and I understand that they're going for drama, really. It's more like character development, all that kind of stuff, but there are times where it's like, they could pick up the pace here, there could be things going on here, it's just dialogue, it's just things happening, but it's like, okay, when are we going to get to the good part? When are we going to get to the intense part? We gain hints of it with the whole drug thing, but when are we going to see Bo do his quote-unquote superheroics, and it's only nearing the end of the film, unfortunately, where we get to see that. And when it happens, it looks pretty cool, but then it just kind of ends, it just kind of ends like poof. That's it. You know what I mean? We don't get to see much of it. We do get a little hint of a quote unquote sequel, although I don't think we'll get a sequel out of this, unfortunately. But the way how it's done, I actually liked how practical it was done. You know,
Okay.
you would expect like sequel bait in here. You have to show some kind of big, grandiose kind of closing shot, but no, they just kind of hinted it, and I like how they did that. That was pretty clever. Once again, like I say, it really has this kind of indie feel. Like I could tell that the director whose name is J.D. Dillard.
Okay.
So I don't know if this is his debut feature film or not. You could tell that he was trying to make the most of their budget now, And as far as indie films go, this is actually one of the more better ones that I've seen in a good while. It's just that the whole superhero aesthetic thing, or at least the superhero thing that they hint at, I find that it could have developed a little bit more. It just felt more of a drama than I'm a kid with amazing power. But
Right.
for what's worth though, I thought this was a decent enough film. It still kind of amuses me that WWE Studios managed to put this film out. Oh yes,
well,
BH
some-
Tilt was involved in this. I forgot to mention.
Who?
Hence the BH Tilt, Blumhouse Tilt. I think that's
Right.
a kind of section of Blumhouse.
Yeah.
Yeah. So right when I saw that logo, I was like, okay, now the whole budget things makes sense.
Right.
It's like telling the best story you could tell with a small budget. And for the most part, I thought that they did well with this one. It's just that they could have played on the whole superhero esque-ness of it a little bit more instead of the trying to survive in the hood kind of thing. Cause we've seen that before, but just the thing with the powers that he has is interesting. It does add something unique to this formula, but I find that it could have done a little bit more with that aspect of it. But for the most part, I would give this a decent 3 out of 5. It was not the best show I've seen in the world. I mean, it was alright. But it is probably one of the more better films I've seen from WWE Studios that has actually seen a lot. Because like
Right.
I said at the beginning of this episode here, the one thing I know them for is just getting these wrestlers and having them play leading men in action films. If it's not
Right.
John Cena,
No, they did,
the Marine is the
did-
Miz, is Randy
which-
Orton.
They did this horror movie that was out, that wasn't so bad. Oculus, I think.
They did Oculus.
Yeah, they did Oculus, I think.
Really?
Which was, yeah.
I've
Let's
heard,
look it up.
I heard good things about Oculus. Sir.
Yeah, it was us, or they was involved in it. I'm not sure how
Well,
much.
I assume they probably was involved in it. I could be wrong. Yeah.
Right.
But yeah. So like when you see that logo, because that's the first logo that shows up before BH Tilt shows up.
Right.
You thinking that okay, well, all right, since there's not a wrestler gonna be the lead, well, at least there's gonna be some cameos, but there's not, and I thought that was really amazing. So it shows that at least they are serious when it comes to putting out quality films, not just vehicles for their wrestlers to show off what they could do. So hopefully, when they decide to retire, they could get that Hollywood deal. Like Dave Bautista, who by the way, we actually saw him for the first time in that second Blade Runner 2049 trailer. I was like, oh,
Yeah,
okay,
yeah,
cool.
right,
All
yeah,
right,
true.
yeah.
Forgot about it. Yeah.
All right, Batista, keep making your paper. All right, cool.
Yeah, and he doing. I can't be mad at her.
No, I can't
I
be mad
noticed
at all, boy. But
Yeah.
you said guys like Randy Orton and the Miz and those guys is like, all right, so we're gonna do the Marine 5 and we're gonna do 12 rounds 3,
Yeah.
and the setting of the film is going to be the stadium where a
They didn't
wrestling
do
match
the-
is going on.
The WWE Studios do the was the movie with the island and the set of criminals on the island.
Or the Condemned, which
Yeah.
I wanted to like because it had Steve Austin.
Right.
But that was right around the time when Steve Austin was trying to get less popular. Like you see in the late 90s when Raw's War was out, yeah. But this thing come out like what 2004 or 2007 I think it is, and it was like really, you know what I mean? And I felt the movie was a waste. The worst part is that they was really trying to go for this real edgy kind of 80s action aesthetic. I just didn't work in 2007. It just felt too old for me, And not just that, with WWE Studios, they also had they had Leprechaun Origins, where they had
Right.
this dwarf Hornswoggle, that was his stage name, play Leprechaun. I was like, what? And of course, the worst things that they could have ever done, the Scooby-Doo and the Jetsons animated
Yeah,
films.
right.
Like,
I know
Jesus
that.
Christ,
Yeah, they have
man.
Scooby. And they had the Big Show.
The Jetsons
It Jetsons. I was like, all right.
with the Big Show and
Yeah, that.
Undertaker.
Yeah, that
Jetsons. Like
was
Scooby Doo,
making sense.
I get, because I mean you're taking already mediocre show and making direct to
Right.
DVD movies out of it, but oh gosh, not Jetsons, man. Come on.
Yeah.
But yeah, all that being said, though, this is actually one of the more better WWE Studios films I've seen in a while. It gives me hope that they could actually put out quality content and not just rely on their superstars to carry a film across. But yeah, this is actually pretty decent. Give it a look, especially if you like indie films. I think this will go. This will fare more with the indie crowd, not so much the the mainstream have to have explosions and have to have action in a movie to enjoy it crowd. I don't think they will like it at all. But if you want to see something a little bit different, then yeah, by all means, give Sleight a look. You may enjoy it.
Right. I was pretty hyped for this movie. I'll make an effort to go see it. And then another movie. It's kind of in the same vein. A movie called Kicks.
Kicks.
Yeah. I want to get that a chance as well. I hear that come out last year. It's a movie I never got a chance to see. So that'll be another one on the list.
All right.
I'll probably do that next week and make the effort to go see that along with Sleight.
Yeah, and as a reminder, guys, Sleight, yeah, is well, at least by the time you listen to this, by the time you're hearing this, it should be out on home media right about now. So give it a look, or at least buy it. Check it out.
Right.
You might like it.
Cool.
All right, and finally, let me talk about Dunkirk, boy.
Yeah.
Let me talk about Dunkirk. But before we actually get into that show, we have to talk about the authorship of Christopher Nolan. I think understanding him and his relevance in film right now will make or break your enjoyment or experience, if you will, of watching Dunkirk.
Right.
Yeah.
Um.
Thoughts on Nolan? What do you think about him just in general as a director?
Great director. Not even a good director. Great one.
Yeah.
However, he's a person that he suffers from the same. Yeah, he kind of. I like to make the joke that he fails the Turing test. In the sense that he really can't. In my opinion, he never really does things that's connecting from an emotional standpoint. Not necessarily. What he does general human struggle things, but I almost never connect to any of his characters because it's always some story with a white guy and they going through some interesting thing. Is usually involving losing a wife or some woman or something along those lines, and then him having to redeem himself in some ridiculous way, right?
Yeah, that's like Inception.
Inception,
Yeah,
Interstellar,
right, yeah.
all of them, right? Batman to
and
extent.
even like his early film, his debut film, Following, actually has a kind of narrative similar
Right.
to what you just mentioned there.
Right.
Yeah.
So he kind of suffers from the same problem that what do I call him, boy? Stanley Kubrick had as well.
Good thing that you mentioned Stanley Kubrick, because I'm going to
Right,
make
Kubrick.
that comparison just now.
Yeah, no, Kubrick had the problem of not really getting people. It's similar problem with Kubrick where you're making these very conscientious films. You're talking about it in a very detailed way. Everything is well made in that sense, but it's too clinical. So that's kind of the biggest critique of Nolan for me. He's a bit of a clinical filmmaker. But the thing is, from a filmmaking perspective, that's welcome because almost no one else does that on that level.
Right.
I'd say my personal fence city movie about him with me is Interstellar, because it's a movie that does so much right and then does so much wrong for those exact same reasons.
Right.
Human centric aspects of it, a lot of it kind of doesn't really work, except for probably the memory sequence and Matthew McConaughey blubbering, right? But the actual central theme of it just kind of fell flat when it comes to the actual struggle or what the struggle was.
Right.
To me, it kind of fell flat personally. That last scene, especially basically everything in the black hole, was to me just kind of nonsense. It just didn't work. It technically makes sense, but as you will think, it doesn't work from a storytelling standpoint. This is where the part of him not really getting people that I keep talking about. The brother gets people, so the brother can write emotions better than he can in
Right.
that sense. But I don't know, he himself as a filmmaker doesn't really work. Kind of falls flat. The Prestige is another example of this.
Oh, I thought you were gonna give like high praise to Prestige though.
No,
like,
yeah,
compared to his other stuff.
Listen, I love the Prestige,
Okay.
but it have the same problem. Right?
Yeah,
It has that, that
I
same.
agree with you. Yeah.
Right. And Dunkirk is another example of this.
All right,
It's
but yeah, continue.
technically very, very good, and it holds on its entire emotional weight on the fact that you have some sense of what the history of this is. That's the thing. If I didn't know what the story of Dunkirk was about, I wouldn't give a shit about this movie. Right? At no point I had any sense of this kind of engagement or weight. And I'm kind of mad I didn't see this in IMAX. I should have come meet you in IMAX and go see it with you.
Shame on you. Shame on you.
Yeah, but I'm sure I enjoyed the movie a lot more because again, it shines on a technical level.
Right.
Really shines on a technical level. I can't take that away from it.
Yeah.
God damn, it looks good. It has some great shots. From what I understand, in terms of the actual filmmaking itself, they get real planes, old planes. They get them.
Yeah, you do.
They did all the audio because the audio was like quite brilliant. In fact, it could win an Oscar for that audio. Song mixing, all of that shit. Look good. Technical filmmaker. The man is a very good filmmaker, but I couldn't attach to any of these characters. Only Mark Rylance character. Then I really didn't feel the whole time edit stuff that they did with this. That didn't work for me. Now, granted, I went into the movie knowing that was in the film, so I wasn't blind. I probably would appreciate the movie a little more if I didn't know that was up in the film, that he was telling these three narratives, but I didn't feel it. I thought they was going to do something brilliant with it. Most people say that thought that was cool. I thought that fell flat for me, personally.
All right.
Anyway, you go through.
So let me just share my thoughts on Nolan. And it's a good thing that you mentioned Stanley Kubrick because for those who don't know, Stanley Kubrick is my all-time favorite director, like ever. He tops Spielberg and Tarantino. I think Tarantino will come at a close second for me, but to me, Stanley Kubrick is the one. He is the Lord Chief Rocker number one. You know what I mean? And for me, the reason being is because now I do agree with you in terms of the characters themselves, where they are there, but it's within the spectrum of the narrative itself is how we could kind of connect somehow. But because we don't know too much about them, or maybe it's this kind of visual wall between the viewer trying to connect with the character itself, we don't really come out of these films like saying, yeah, I can relate to this character, or I could feel this character. It's more like style and substance, but not so much characterization. A good example, well, just sticking to Stanley Kubrick for a bit, Full Metal Jacket, where you understand what the characters are going through, but in no way did I come out of it saying, yeah, boy, I could connect with Matthew Modine's character, and I could connect with Vincent D'Onofrio's character, boy. Like, I know what they're going through, but it's not like, wow, that really hit me hard, though. But I think it's because of the film and how it's made and the tone and everything, I could come out feeling that impact, that sort of impact that I know Kubrick was aiming for,
Right.
But why I compare Nolan to Kubrick is because of what they were able to do in terms of the films that they made. So Full Metal Jacket, at the point in time, there were lots of films based on the Vietnam War, and Kubrick is the type of person that if he hear that 10 directors working on films on the Vietnam War, he wouldn't even bother. But if there's this one project that he could do something with, he will do everything that he can to make this stand out amongst the rest,
Right.
Whether it's technically, whether it's sound design, whether it's music, whether it's just the way how the story is told and all these things. And to me, that is what I praise Nolan for. In this modern era of filmmaking, to me, Christopher Nolan does the same exact thing what Kubrick has done. It hit while he was alive, where case in point, Batman Begins. So let me just see the whole Dark Knight trilogy. Taking the superhero genre and doing something different with it. It mightn't be as impactful to everybody. I'm not saying that. I mean, Dark Knight above all is to me the most emotional of the entire trilogy. And see what's about the Dark Knight Rises. I still love the film. I still love how it ended. Well, sorry, I loved it as a closer, like the end of the trilogy. Yes, it was flawed, but for what he was going for, I thought it worked, And just with that trilogy alone, what he what he did into the superhero genre. Inception, in terms of sci-fi, in terms of this whole mind trip kind of thing, how he was able to play with that, and with narrative as well too. The way how the narrative was told and stuff. But the pure example of that, and this is one that I think this is the one film that really started the whole love affair with Nolan's films for me, and I know with a lot of people, is Memento.
Yeah.
I'll never forget the first time I saw that. I was just blown away by the fact that you could actually tell this story in a non-linear narrative. I thought, and the way how he pulled that off was just so amazing. Subsequent viewings on believe it or not though, I wasn't like blown away by the ending though. Like, I find the ending doesn't hold up that much. It's just like, oh well, we kind of was supposed to care for Guy Pearce's character, and now as we kind of get the full scope of it, now I don't really care about him. So the end, So I understand what you mean in terms of not really connecting with the characters now, like, you're supposed to be caring about Guy Pearce and what he's going through with his short-term memory loss, but then when you understand what's happening, I was like, I don't really care anymore,
Okay, but that's a good example of your point. The point is that the character, everything is just a gimmick with Nolan's character. There's a thing about the character that you care for that's interesting, but that's because it's such a weird scenario. That's the only reason you care about it. But when you actually think about it, you're right. You shouldn't really care about the character. Okay, you have the short-term memory. Okay, that's it. And then the movie shot really, really cleverly.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And then Nolan gets into a lot of like metaphysical stuff in his own stuff. So he does a lot of recursion in his material, like his first original movie. I forget the name of the movie with Bug.
Yes, Doodlebug.
Doodlebug, right.
Which
Same thing.
Everything is a short film.
Right, everything is a thing within a thing within a thing. This
of course,
kind of
especially
recursion.
with that end with the hand,
right?
That thing, yeah.
Right. So everything is a recursion stuff. He does a lot of recursion in his material, right? Especially Inception and Interstellar.
Mm-hmm.
Again, it's really highfalutin metaphysical stuff he knows how to do well, or good storytelling, not just strange scenario stuff. When it comes to actual emotion on the person, it doesn't work. Yeah. That's Nolan's like main issue I have with him.
Yeah,
still a good director.
He comes close though. Like I would say Inception, he kind of comes close where.
But even
like you look at it at the surface, it's an action film, and it has sci-fi stuff and people, doing this zero gravity stuff and cool. But there was this with the thing with Leo's character and what they were setting up there, at least.
But I think even that guy undermined because of the ending, right? I was like, wait, the whole thing not real. But
I love that ending, by the way. I love the ambiguity.
No, but that's the thing. It's like, does it work if it's bad? Because here's the thing: the story is more coherent if it's not real, quote unquote, because it's supposed to be in a dreamscape. But if it is real, it's meaningless now.
Yeah, but
a lot of that doesn't.
I would say though, probably the biggest flaw for me was the relationship between Leo and Marion Cotillard. How that relationship was developed. Like, okay, you want to test this theory, so why a trapper in this dream state though, to test to see if it works, to see if Inception works now. Like, I know there's this whole backstory behind it, but ultimately it's like, okay, it works because you trap your wife here, like, why?
Yeah.
But I haven't seen it, so
Yeah. Anyway, he is for the most part an author. If you want to take that term. If you want to take that term seriously.
Yeah. I like the fact that he takes he gets a chance to make, I don't want to call it original films, but interesting films, unique films.
Yeah,
like The Prestige, for example.
He gets to tell a story and makes it. He makes that work for the most part. So I can't be mad at that as a filmmaker. And I'll still again, I consider The Dark Knight one of his best movies. I really like that movie.
It is probably my all-time favorite.
Right. In fact, I'll argue that he as a filmmaker is above the material, comic book material in general.
Yeah.
Yeah. In fact, in my opinion, The Dark Knight script is so good that it's the Batman stuff that held it back. That's how far I'll carry it. But yeah. He's a person that, as a filmmaker, as I say, then just said, well, we had to go back to Dunkirk now.
Yeah. There's a few things I wanted to say afterwards, but continue.
Yeah. The big problem, I just repeated myself for a second here, that again, if I did not know how important Dunkirk was historically, I wouldn't care about this. And I'll say the only one thing that spoiled it for me, because everything he's trying to play everything straight and kind of, well, for the better part, lack of a better term, realistic, is I don't know if you remember the movie Atonement.
I remember the film. I remember not seeing it. I saw
Right.
a clip of it, which
Right.
yes, spoiler alert, took place at Dunkirk. Yeah.
Right, exactly. And well, the big notable part of the movie is just the idea of this famous, probably one of the best long takes ever.
Yes.
That
Handheld,
was
handheld
notable
by the
about-
way. Yeah. Handheld.
Yeah, yeah. So it was like this incredible feat from a technical standpoint. But from what I understand, that was not even particularly embellished, but for some people say just an outright fabrication. That is definitely not how Dunkirk was. The real Dunkirk was a lot more played down, even though it was still an amazing feat. Historically, an amazing scenario. It wasn't as dramatic as that movie made it out to be. But that's the
Oh.
thing. That movie was much more human and much more engaging.
Right.
And this
right,
one was just so technical and dry for me. I just couldn't get into it.
Right.
Right. Yeah.
Right. So I'll just say this in finally about Nolan. But what I like though is that even though you would assume because he has his because he is in this whole blockbuster, scene, he
Yeah.
has Dark Knight and Batman Begins and all these and Inception. He could still do films at the Prestige where it's like, oh well, the only thing that looks interesting, the only reason why people go and see it, would be Hugh Jackman, Christian Bale, Scarlett Johansson, and Michael
Right.
Caine, and then we got a great movie out of that. I actually love the Prestige as well.
I love The Prestige as well.
Sorry, it took me a few viewings to get the full story. It's like, oh wow, you know what I mean?
Well, why I love The Prestige is because it was a surprise sci-fi. Spoiler alert.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. I didn't even know it was going to be a sci-fi.
Yeah, that's the thing. It catch me. I was like, oh shit, and it's like, wait, Nikola Tesla, because they cater to something that was a big sci-fi fan nerd shit in the days, which was basically I don't know what to call it, but basically it's like steampunk, and a big part of that subculture on the internet is Nikola Tesla is this great mind and hero, right? Now the real Nikola Tesla is actually quite a brilliant person, but he was a very strange person. But he was a brilliant mind.
He was like what, an introvert or something?
Yeah, but it's a little creepier than that. A little weird.
Okay.
Yeah, pigeons. That's all I'll need to mention.
Okay.
Yeah, but he is an absolutely brilliant mind by all accounts, and a lot of people make him out as this. He kind of becomes a folk hero for a lot of modern internet nerd people, because it's like he's the brilliant scientist battling against the man, especially against we call him light bulb man, who was kind of a terrible person. Edison, right?
Yeah.
And that whole paradigm, right? And so Nolan tapping into that was like a big deal, especially with, in 2006 when that whole subculture was like really kind of flourishing and burgeoning on the internet. So that's why that movie was so well appreciated for me.
Right.
But from a character standpoint, it's only Christian Bale's character was kind of dry. I didn't get into it. I didn't get into his character, even him with his daughter. It's only because Wolverine brings so much energy to the story with his personality. He worked, but the rest of the movie was just kind of dry in that sense. And that's the same. That's Nolan. Nolan is the fault of that. It's not anybody else's problem. That's just Nolan as a filmmaker. And sorry, I kind of downplay Nolan, but that's the problem I have.
Yeah. All right. Well, I mean, we could talk a lot about his films, but let's talk about Dunkirk. You just want to just run through briefly what the story is about.
Right. So basically, during World War II, you had this amazing period, this sequence called something along the lines of, well, I can't remember what the actual operation was, but it was Operation. There's a documentary I knew it as Operation Dunkirk, and basically they had to.
No, it's Operation Dynamo. That's the name of
Dynamo.
it. I just
Sorry,
remembered, right?
And basically they had to just evacuate a whole bunch of soldiers, and they didn't think that was possible. So basically the Germans had them surrounded, and on the Lam, on this very small section of France, to basically the closest point over the channel to England.
Literally the outskirts of France, Dunkirk. So it's this long stretch of beach, and they were just like easy pickings, like
pretty much, yeah.
for the Nazis.
So they had to just do this insane evacuation sequence, and basically a lot of civilian boats got involved because the military couldn't manage it from a practical standpoint, and so they ended up pulling it off. That's the whole point.
Yeah.
They thought the original plan was just to get, like, I forget how much soldiers it was. The original plan was to get 45,000.
From what I read, it was like 40,000.
Yeah, it was right.
It could be more.
And they had to. It was like 10 times that they had to get off the boat. So the logic was, oh well, all of those men going to die. and they end up pulling it off. They end up saving most people.
Yeah.
Like save like I don't know 96% of them or some real like it was an incredible evacuation success. That story is goddamn amazing and fascinating on its own.
It is. It is.
So that's my critique of the movie, because the movie just like if I did not know the historical weight of that, and I can imagine a lot of people like embellish, like love that they didn't embellish the story, just made it as dry as it is, because just the raw pragmatism of where it went down. So a lot of people appreciate that. That's I think what Nolan was going for, but
right.
I thought personally that just fell flat for me. Yeah, go ahead.
All right. Well, I'll share my thoughts on the film right now. I'll confess this. I'm a big Nolan fan, so going into this, I was excited for this because it's it's Nolan, and he is tackling a war, the genre of war. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, see what you want about Interstellar. To me, I saw Interstellar as him kind of trying to stretch his wings now, basically, from the whole blockbuster thing, but doing like what Stanley Kubrick did, which was essentially you have your genre, but how far can I take this genre? How can I turn this into something that with longevity, something that will last, something that transcend the whole blockbuster, thing, and let be art, And to me, he came close with Interstellar, but I felt personally, like I love Interstellar. I actually own it on Blu-ray and all, as do the Dark Knight trilogy and Inception. I'll talk about Blu-rays in a bit, but really with Interstellar, the thing is that I felt like with the whole black hole thing and how Matthew McConaughey's character had to explain everything, it's almost like he had to kind of dumb himself. It's almost like the film had to dumb itself down to please the people in the cinemas watching the film, because if people walk out of it like say, well, people will praise and say, oh, it's a new 2001, but remember the end of 2001, that whole sequence at the end, baffled people, but people today still regard it as a masterpiece. And I know that Nolan was trying to reach that level now. He was trying to reach Kubrick's god status with this, but it was like, the studio's like, no. You have to spoon feed the audience, let them understand what's going on, and I think that was like a detriment to the film. I could be wrong, but
no, Interstellar, like again, I consider Interstellar a flawed masterpiece in its own right.
It is, but you could tell he was trying to reach that level, but it's like, nah.
It was a kind of noble failure in its own right, because it was working until the black hole sequence. But again, just to relate to Dunkirk, it does the technical aspect very, very well, and it builds the world quite well.
Yes.
Again, Dunkirk does everything right from a filmmaking conscientious standpoint on point. So I at no point I even calling up or trying to pull up Nolan on that at all. Everything worked.
Of course, yeah. Well, we could talk about just the technical stuff first, and then we could get
but it didn't have a working personal story, and I suppose that's the idea that it's just about British troops doing what they had to do, and the British people doing what they have to do, and the RAF doing what they have to do to just get this done, and it's about Britain, and it's like a British film. Like I can imagine this as a big British propaganda.
Yeah, exactly.
That's what it felt like.
Yeah.
But it wasn't personal. I just couldn't get into it. None of these characters I couldn't get into. Again, only Mark Rylance had something going on there, and I thought that arc worked with him and Cillian Murphy on the boat. That back and forth. I like that. But go ahead.
Now for the debates. So technically, I'll jump into technical stuff. Nolan has done it again. He has made another masterful film. From opening shot to closing shot, just the visuals. And this is coming from somebody who saw this thing in IMAX. OMFG, this movie looks gorgeous.
Right.
Just from a technical perspective, it looks very, very good. There's lots of like wallpaper, desktop wallpaper shots, as I like to call them, just these great shots. I mean, even though the content itself is rather bleak and dark, it is about war. You know what I mean? Just the shots and just the composition of these things look very good from a technical perspective. I mean, props to the DP for this. I forgot his name, but I hope he gets a nomination for this one, Oscar nom. Another thing that deserves an Oscar nom is the sound design. Now, normally with films, like a friend of mine who came with me to see the film, normally with when you're watching films like with action in it, you're hearing gunshots and explosions, and you could tell it's coming from the film itself. It just sounds like it's in that sort of bubble, if you will. But with this movie here, it feels like these bombs and these gunshots are going off right around you. You feel
Yeah.
immersed into this whole
Yeah, exactly. So
insanity.
yeah, no,
I thought
because
that
I
was
was
done very, very, very
you know I
masterfully
went to
done.
right because I did the CCA, the CXC run, and CXC has excellent sound, in my opinion.
Right.
So I really again all of that shit gain a 10 out of 10, you know.
Yeah. I mean,
so I'm not complaining. I'm not
it's on
complaining
point,
about that.
Right.
Yeah.
But you know, we could praise technical stuff till we could praise the film we could praise the film technical merits for hours and hours, but
Yeah.
here is where I would actually defend the film, right?
Okay.
Now, I could easily call this his most experimental work to date, and I think he did say in an interview that this is going to be an experimental film.
Right.
So, if you've like watched his films over the years, I mean, from Memento go up, right, and you're familiar with some of his like narrative techniques and sound techniques and just the stuff that he has both technically and narratively, he just plays around with these things and he does it in such a way that like when I was watching at first with the whole tree story thing, like at first I was assuming that like I didn't know it was going to be edited that way where one story starts and then the next story starts and the next story starts. It's just keep cutting back and forth, and I was getting this Cloud Atlas kind of vibe. But what I was hoping, unlike Cloud Atlas, is that these stories would have come together somehow, not just thematically, but just come into, okay, all these gonna correlate into this one big moment during this whole debacle, and it'll make sense from there. Unfortunately, the film does that. But editing at first, like when I was looking at it, I was a little taken away by it now, because like, all right, we're here and now we're across here and now we're across here, and you want to be invested in what's going on, but it keeps cutting like every 3-4 minutes or so what's going on, and then I started to get used to it. I started, it started growing me a little bit more,
Right.
And then another thing that almost took me out of the film, believe it or not, was the music by Hans Zimmer.
Yeah.
I love my Hans Zimmer.
So yeah,
He makes
again,
great scores and all that.
That
But-
worked for me.
yeah.
That worked for me very, very well because you had that I don't know what they call it. What is it called? I gave my shepherd tone.
Shepperton.
Shepherd tone. Yeah, I think that is when you have it is just song like if you song constantly rising, but it's just the same song over. and
Oh
over. It's
yeah,
like
yeah, I know what you mean. Yeah.
yeah, it's like an auditory illusion. It's like an auditory illusion from that's used in films a lot. In fact, he uses it in many of his movies.
Yeah.
But
They
like
use it in
in Dark Knight.
in Dark Knight. Yes,
Yeah,
in Dark
in
Knight
Dark Knight.
particularly reminded
that
me
whole
of,
thing and everything built
it
it.
just
Yeah, they
keeps
do the,
building up. Yeah.
yeah. So they did that very, very well because it serves a great purpose in building a scene, especially if you're doing like a thriller / horror kind of something, or just in this case where the idea that you're not even it's just an incoming threat now that could come at any time. And then they use a lot of clock
Yes,
songs
there was this stopwatch
ticking. Yeah,
playing.
yeah.
There's even a point where the music builds and then the stopwatch stops and then that's it. You only hear like
Right.
about a few seconds of silence. Right. So
Yeah.
back to the musical score. Now, at first I was like, all right, there's too much music here. This is overscored here. This is reminding me of like Man of Steel, which Hans Zimmer also did the score for, where it's like you have this music and it's almost like subliminally trying to force the viewer to feel a kind of way, to feel tense. So
Right.
okay, these soldiers getting on a boat. So why is the music going to a crescendo? Why are we hearing this stopwatch? Why? That
Right.
was me at first, right? And then I started to remember the films that he was influenced by. One of these films actually was a silent film called Greedy, right?
Right.
Which was a German film from Erich von Stroheim. Yes, I believe that's his
Okay.
name, yeah. And if you've seen silent film, if you've seen a silent film in your lifetime, and you really should, I mean, they're actually better than you might think. They move just like that. They do have a lot of music playing, and then like
Yeah.
probably like about a 5 or 10 seconds, the music would stop once
Right.
the song is done, and then a next song would start up. And
Right.
usually those songs tend to be familiar, but the thing is, because it's a score that we're using here, not so much music like instrumentals or songs, if you will. And because you're trying to build tension, there were moments where it felt like I was hearing the same thing again and again and again. But it just started to grow. That thing started to grow on me as well too. The musical score and how it started to build tension, especially around the end of the first act going into the end of the movie, that's when the music started to work for me, right? Um, Also, just the whole narrative structure of it, the way how three stories were told and how they just kept going back and forth. There's even a moment where it's night and then it goes back to the day before, the day after, and it just keeps doing that. Like, it's just those things that will take people out of it, like just the people who not used to his films. But because I'm familiar with his techniques, like with Memento and Dark Knight and Inception, those things, that's when it started to grow on me. It was more like Nolan just being experimental, but as an artist, doing what he knows how to do. It's not like him trying to do what other directors have done. And yes, I know he has been influenced by other films. One film in particular, and this is where it kind of made sense for me, was a movie called The Battle of Algiers, which to me, hands down, is one of the best war films ever made. And that film in particular didn't really follow a particular protagonist, right? It was really about the war that took place at Algiers between the French army and the Algerian people at the time now. And it was seeing the war from both sides, from both perspectives. And that's where it started to make sense why we saw the war from Tom Hardy's eyes, who is playing this RAF pilot. And then we have Mark Rylance' character, who is just this guy who owns a yacht with his two sons, and them going to Dunkirk. And then his sons is like, well, why are we going there? And it's like, well, we got to go and see these people. And then, of course, you have the soldiers trying to get out. So we have Harry Styles, who I didn't even pick up on who he is, because I'm not the biggest fan of One Direction. It's only my friend afterwards like, yeah, I was seeing a lot of Harry Styles. Harry Styles was in the shows. I was like, all right, I didn't see Harry Styles. I don't care if he is in One Direction or not, but he's there apparently. Okay, whatever. And so you're seeing those three perspectives now, and I was like wondering, okay, why they keep cutting back and forth? And then that's when the whole, then it started to make sense to me why it's done this way, and then when the stories started to come together. But I do agree. But the biggest thing that people will criticize the film for is the lack of a real protagonist, or at least somebody you should care about. And that goes back to what you're saying with the whole characterization stuff. Because yes, they are there and the acting is superb on across the board. Even right down to Tom Hardy, who once again plays a character with a mask on. I don't know what it is about Tom Hardy and being in Warner Brothers movies with masks. So he was with the mask with Dark Knight Rises at Bane. Then he was there briefly with a mask in Mad Max Fury Road. And he has a mask again, so every once in a while you will see his mouth now. But usually you see his eyes, and because of what he manages to do with his eyes. Right. But the character really stood out to me, believe it or not, was Mark Rylance, because he was the one I could relate to. Him being this common man, and him, going out there to do this job. And yes, he knows he is familiar with nautical, how to survive, in the ocean and stuff like that. But that's not enough when you have planes that dropping bombs, not just on the beach, but and shooting on planes and whatnot. So it adds a greater unpredictability to him. So I kind of related to that. The whole subplot thing with one of his sons, I didn't like how that turned out. I find I was just kind of hammy in a bit. But maybe I just need to watch over the show again to really get into that. But essentially what happens is that they bring in a soldier who's a pilot. No, he's not a pilot. I think he's either a pilot or a soldier. Cillian Murphy's character, and he's just there, and it's just him being all frightened and stuff, and just the relationship between Cillian Murphy's character and just the other people on that yacht. The way how it kind of turned out with one of Mark's sons, I didn't like that personally. But I guess maybe I just need to, because this happened so quickly now, but I just kind of need to watch it over again. But to make a long story short, though, to me, this film really does feel experimental, and I have absolutely no problem with that. To me, once again, it just shows how great of a director Nolan is. Where the easy thing would just be to do your normal traditional narrative about the struggles and the fear, and I'll talk about the fear in a bit of the event of Dunkirk. But because he is an author, and because he tries different styles and has different techniques that he uses throughout a majority of his films, and he's not afraid to actually try to experiment and try to play around with those styles and stuff like that, because you're not gonna go into a Nolan film expecting a normal average kind of film. You know what to expect already. If you've seen his movies, you know what to expect. But still here, I like the fact that he did something a little bit unpredictable, something a little bit more, a little different, a little unique, a little special, and that to me is what makes this film stand out to me. But like, this is the weird part though. Like, I know people are gonna go into this, especially the diehard Nolan fans, and are gonna be turned off by this. It's too much style, not enough substance. Like, why are you doing all this? There's no protagonist that I care about or that I'm invested in. Why is it like that? But then again, if you look at, say, Full Metal Jacket, for example, where and where like the first half of the film is at boot camp, and this was never hinted at all in the trailer, which still remains one of my all-time favorite movie trailers, by the way. If you haven't seen it, go see it, right? But
what's that?
The trailer for Full Metal Jacket.
Right.
The first half of it is, well, the first half of the movie is set in boot camp, but the trailer itself never hints at that. It hints at the war itself. But then you get the second half is like, well, what's the point of this? We're watching two different movies here, and then why is the film? But then again, the film is based off the memoirs of, like, I think it's a war correspondent at the time, so it has this kind of memoir kind of feel of it, where it's not like a traditional narrative, a point A, point B, point C thing. It's just different moments, different events that happened during this war that happened to involve these group of people now. So it has that kind of like unique style to it now. But then, when you think about it, Kubrick wanted to do something that no other filmmaker was doing at the time. He wanted to tell his story different. And I felt that same thing here with Nolan. He was trying to tell a war film different. Because remember, this is coming right off of a film like Hacksaw Ridge, which won awards and was nominated for awards. It even went up for Best Picture as well. And look at what that did in terms of showing the horrors of war. And now I'll get to the whole fear thing. And at first, when I was hearing about the whole PG-13 rating, I was like, why are we going to do PG-13 for? I mean, doesn't make any sense, you know what I mean? It's war, so it has to be bloody now. But here is where I think the film shines the most, where you don't even need to show a drop of blood, and still they build so much fear
you also don't see,
film.
I don't think you see the thing as well. Any Germans? I think just at the end.
No. There are no Germans. You don't see any Germans. You hear, all you would just simply hear, you would just hear like a plane coming down, and then when you hear it, it's so loud that it really
I think it's just at the end. It's just at the end, right, with Tom Hardy, right?
Yeah. Well, roughly, yeah. You do see that, yeah. But just what they managed to do in just creating that fear, just creating that unpredictability. Same thing that they do pretty much. They did something like that in Battle of Algiers, but you were seeing the soldiers at that point in time. But just the mere fact that anything could happen at any point in time, and the way how they build that, and that's when it started to really work for me. The tension to me is what makes this whole film works, and how they set that up. And yes, I know you would want to care and root for these characters, but just imagine yourself in those situations, right? And you would feel the fear that these characters are going through, and that's when you kind of connect to them, not so much from a character perspective, but from what they're going through, how they're feeling there, which is primarily fear. I thought that they did that excellently here. This is where all the techniques started to come together for me. The editing, the non-linear narratives, the sound design in particular, which blew me away in terms of just how it just developed tension and fear, and right down to the music as well. Even though I would kind of criticize and say it's a little too abrasive at times, a little too loud, it's a little too kind of one note, but because of what they're setting up in terms of tone with this film, it works, But I'll just say this in closing, and then we could just jump into ratings. This is one film that I imagine, just like with Full Metal Jacket, just like with Kubrick's films in general, even right down to 2001, people are gonna be split by it. Some people are gonna praise the technicality of it, but they're gonna look at it like, well, the film itself is not traditional. It doesn't tell the story way I expected it to be, and I don't really like it that much. But I imagine that with years, with more viewings, and as years go by, I imagine more and more people are gonna say this is a near masterpiece. And right now, I could say this is a near masterpiece. Not perfect. It's I could say if I were to compare this to Interstellar, this is better than Interstellar. This is where he wasn't kind of dumbing himself down. It was just he was taking these risks. He didn't shortchange himself for the viewer. He treated the viewer. He knew that the viewer, would be smart enough to figure out what's going on. Like case in point, the whole the three stories and how they told. He's not dumbing things down. Like, okay, well, all he just gives you, like, in terms of just to distinguish his stories, is just these title cards that open up the film, and that's all you get. But he expects the audience to be smart to figure out what's going on. And he even kind of amps it up, when 1 minute you'll see a scene take place at night, and then we just switch to day, and then back to night, and then day, He wants the viewer to kind of, to use the brain to figure out what's going on. It's not just about the fear and tension about what the soldiers are going through. And yes, it's there, and you do feel it, and I really love the film for that. But it's smart enough to kind of let the audience know that yes, we're doing something a little bit different here. Just roll with us. Don't worry, the movie isn't that long. We're not gonna do a whole 2 hours and 40 minutes of this story. This roughly 100 minutes of this. Bear with us, and then in the end, it will make sense. And to me, at the end, it makes sense. And then how it ends, I actually like the end. I wasn't in love with it, but I liked the way it ended. It felt reasonable in terms of the story of what he was telling. I thought it worked. But like I said before, I think this is one that will grow on people. It has to grow on me as well too, because I'm just talking from a first viewing. But I imagine, maybe with Interstellar too, but I imagine with this movie in particular, that this is one that, when people see it more and more and more, and when years go by, they're gonna say this is one of his greatest films. And I am on that side. I think this is one of his best films to date, and just the fact that he was willing to take risks to make a film like this, I think is amazing. It's admirable, actually. But I understand why you wouldn't like it. I understand why some people wouldn't like it. But I say, watch it again. And I actually do want to see this again, just to see if it deserves that praise that I'm giving it right now. But your last words before we jump to
right. So obviously I don't like it as much as you do, because it's the clinical. I suppose his strength of the film lends to the clinical nature of the story, and it just relies on the historical weight as emotion. That's about it. But this movie still works quite well for me. Again, all the technical shit was next to perfect, and I expect that from Nolan. And I just didn't really feel the experimental editing techniques. It didn't work for me. It just felt obnoxious and tedious more than anything, and I would have preferred a more straightforward kind of film in that sense.
I think we all would have. Let me all agree. We all would have.
I get why.
I praise the ambition though in terms of trying to be different.
But I get why he did it the way he did, because it's supposed to be about it's Dunkirk and nobody know what's going on, and the idea is to keep everybody confused. I get it. But it feels like just more film school gimmicky nonsense more than anything. It just didn't land or stick in any kind of workable professional way. But it's something that you could tell that Nolan probably just wanted to do for a long time anyway. It had good moments. Kenneth Branagh was good. I like Mark Rylance arc. It worked for the most part. And the good does outweigh the bad in this. But I just couldn't help but felt a bit disappointed. I really thought this would have been much more epic. I think I was expecting Atonement again. I think that was the problem. I think I was expecting that level of thing, and we didn't really get that. Nolan he did it in his own way, and he did it in a much more clinical, grounded way. Yeah. So if you really like that and appreciate that, you like it. I'm going to give him a rating now.
Yes, please.
I give this a low IMAX. It still gets an IMAX. It still deserves being seen in IMAX. But I myself personally was just a little underwhelmed by what I saw. It was just more blasting it with the quote-unquote experience of the sensory overload of it, and that worked. But I needed a stronger story in the sense of just emotional input and these kind of things. Again, if I was ignorant of the history of it, I'd have probably hated this a lot more, frankly. But only because I know its place and its weight, and Nolan as a filmmaker understanding its context, that's why it still gets a lot of workable points. But that's about it for me.
All right. Well, for me, I would give this a light 4.5 out of 5 stars. Yes, I said it. Reason being is because I see the longevity of it. I see this as one that will be regarded as a classic later on in his career.
Okay.
Just like with Kubrick's films, even right
Right.
down to his last film, Eyes Wide Shut. You know, a lot of people say is one of the best movies he's ever made.
Really?
Although I am on the
Really?
kind of on the other side of that. I'm like,
Yeah,
it's
I
still
don't like
like
White. I don't like Eyes
it's
Wide Shut at all.
long, it's drawn out,
Yeah.
it's dull, it's
I mean,
meh.
Eyes Wide Shut have its
but I
moments, but
understand why people.
oh, really? People
regard
like
it as-
Eyes Wide Shut? All right, I
Yeah.
don't know that. News to me.
Yeah, I mean,
Right.
I've seen it like 3 times. So like, it's
Yeah, me too.
good,
I've seen it
but-
twice. I've seen it twice, but I never got the sense that this was like a real big, well-received movie by people.
Dude, Martin Scorsese actually put that as in his list of like top 10 best movies of the
Okay.
of the 1990s. Believe it or not,
Okay, okay.
it's like wow, okay, but I think to me that's like the least
Big,
my
huh?
least favorite Kubrick movie there. But I see this just like if Interstellar was or is, if you will, Nolan's 2001, then this one Dunkirk is his Full Metal Jacket.
Okay.
Because I remember, if I'm not mistaken, Full Metal Jacket was well received, but not that well received though. Some people kind of got turned off by the storytelling in it and how it was told and all that kind of stuff. But over time, people love this film. It's like probably one of a lot of people's favorite, one of the best Vietnam War films out there. You know what I
Right.
mean? But at the time, people was like, all right, I kind of get, you know. And I imagine that will be the case with Dunkirk. I'm not seeing it as a perfect film as well, by a long shot. The narrative element, I would say, is the weakest, especially in terms of the characters and how the story, not so much how the stories were told, but the stories themselves, not the event and what was going on, but just the story, just how it was, how it played out essentially. You know? But
Right.
I actually have no problem watching this film again and really focusing on the story instead of the sound design and the technical aspects.
Right.
But I still enjoy this film a lot. This is one of the best films of 2017, in my honest opinion. Right now, believe it or not, it's is my second spot right now. Number one is still War for the Planet of the Apes, hands down.
Okay. Okay.
But I don't know if Dunkirk is gonna be the top one. I kind of doubt it, but it definitely is in my top 5 right now.
All right. So-
But I know with more, but I'm hoping with more viewings, I actually appreciate it a lot more. I hope I don't hate it or despise it a little bit more because now I watch it again and now I don't care for the sound and now I don't care for the music. But for what I got here, yeah, this is easily one of Nolan's most ambitious works. It's probably one of his best films. I think this
Right.
is what that's gonna, yeah, people are gonna look back at this one. Believe I am betting you right now, people are gonna look back and say, yeah, we had it wrong. This is a masterpiece. But right now, just like Interstellar, this is close to being masterpiece. Not there yet, but I think that he's reaching to that level though. I think he tried it before with Interstellar. He just kind of had to kind of dumb things down because of the viewers and the audience at the time. But here is where he just kind of let loose and just be more confident in what he was trying to do, narratively and technically. So yeah. Light 4.5 out of 5 stars. By all means, see it as soon as you can. See it to the biggest screen that you could get. I would say IMAX for sure, and
Cool.
yeah, I would just see this in closing. I'm definitely gonna buy this on Blu-ray.
Right.
And I want to make sure to get a really good sound system because this 3-piece, home theater system, if you will, not gonna do this movie justice. I have to get like I had to get a 6-piece for this one, but I have to hear, I had to feel the sound in this one for real.
Right.
This, you know what I mean? But yeah, definitely check out Dunkirk.
All right. Cool.
All right. So Ricardo, where can we find you online, dude?
Sat RMEDDY. That is at RMEDDY at RMEDDY on Twitter. And then you can just type in my name, Ricardo Medina, on Facebook. You get me there.
All right, you can find me on Twitter as well. Look for Legally Black MGB and capital letters. You can also find me on Facebook. Just look for my name, Matthew Bailey, as well as a Legally Black official fan base where you'll find the link to this podcast here, as well as the ones that we've done before, and along with my written reviews. All right, so in closing, stuff to look forward to. The Cutlass.
Yes.
Yes. I want to
Yes.
hear your thoughts on it because we talked about it,
Yeah.
outside of this program here. But I wanna have a nice little review of it with you, just like what we did last year with Barcelona. I want to hear your views on it and to extend the local film industry and where it could or may not be going.
Yeah.
Yeah, can't wait for that.
Yeah.
But dude, I really wanted to see it. Dude. But yeah,
I saw it.
Yeah,
They
but
well, we have Atomic Blonde.
yes, we
That's
are
coming.
getting that at the end of August. But what we are getting
Oh,
this
so
week,
far away. Okay.
yeah, boy, I know. But what we
Yeah,
are
that
getting
goes
this
that far.
week is Girls Trip, which I am hearing a lot of great things. Which
Right, I
I'm
see that
shocked
groups
by.
will probably make the effort. Well, it's the same guy who did, I think, Undercover Brother.
Oh, really? Him?
I think it's that guy is the director.
Okay.
If I remember correctly. So he's alright. Yeah.
I love Undercover Brothers, but
Yeah.
I hear a lot of great things about this show here. I haven't seen a comedy this year in cinema.
Right.
I know 50 Shades Darker does not count because that was just painful tedium. But yeah, I will check out Girls Trip as well. I'm hoping to really enjoy that film. And a film that I'm not gonna watch at all, and I hear a lot of bad things about since Friday.
Right.
The Emoji Movie.
Yeah, that's
And should anyone be surprised?
not watching that shit.
Yeah, should anybody be surprised that the movie
Right.
got
Not
bad
watching
reviews?
that shit. Don't care.
Nope.
Don't
Nope.
care.
Nope. No.
Yeah. Then Dark Tower coming next week.
Yes, Dark Tower is coming out next week.
I'm hyped for that.
Yeah, I'm hyped for that. I know that August is gonna be like a real dry spell in terms of blockbusters. So
Yeah.
I may make the effort. I'm definitely gonna make the effort to watch Dunkirk again. But Spider-Man: Homecoming, War for the Planet of the Apes, perhaps. I mean, I love War for the Planet of the Apes, so I guess I should see that again. You know.
Right.
All right, so that's pretty much about it. So once again, guys, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good night, whenever this is. This was Macho Billy
Ricardo Bodino.
and we are signing off from another episode of BSB to Billy. So take care. Till the next one.
Yeah. Peace.